Oh, hi there. We're back. It's Thursday. We're back for week number 2. No baby's first stream anymore, but here we are after a very, very tiring work week. But you know what? We got to keep going. We got to keep going. Just sometimes you just have to do the thing, right? But not only do we have to do the thing, but this week, this day, this time, we have to do a slightly different thing, because up until now, it's been all beat 'em ups all the time, which is very on brand for me, and that's kind of why I wanted to start that way. But I play more than just beat 'em ups, if you can believe that. And actually, some of the first games I started learning several years ago, and I became interested in learning how to one-credit clear games, were shooters, shoot 'em ups. Pew pew pews, whatever, any number of ways you could call them. Shmups, I hate the word shmups, but sometimes I have to use it just to get people to understand what I'm saying. STGs, things like that. I just call them shooters, but I recognize that can become confusing. Oh, Chibi UFO, thank you for showing up for the pew pew pews. It's gonna be fun. But as usual, we're going to cover some of the very early influential ones from the 80s, and we're going to be looking at some game machine issues and a little bit of gamist afterward. The usual formula, just a different genre. I don't get why people don't like the term shmups. I don't. I'm overblowing it a little bit for comedy. I don't hate it. There's just something about the way it sounds that I don't like. It just doesn't roll off the tongue well for me. Like, we used to call these games shooters back before a shooter meant a third or first person shooter. And so it's like you can't fight against the tide thing, right? Like, no matter how much something was there first, if something else takes it over in popular culture, like, too bad, you lose automatically, right? And that's sort of what happened. And I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of bitterness over that. Who's to say, right? STG, now I'm trying to... I think it's just a shorting for shooting game. Because if you look at the... I'm not sure if anyone here has ever been to any sort of a game store in Japan, like a Book Off or really anything. But the way they categorize them there, often the main categories will have tags just for the categories, and they'll be alphabetized in Japanese alphabetical order within the categories, which is infuriating sometimes if you have a game where you're not clear what genre it falls under, but you kind of get used to it. And so in a Book Off, for example, you'll have a tag that just says shooting, but they even lump many different types of shooting into that. They have your STGs, your shmups in there, of course, your classic shooters. But then you'll also find Call of Duty, for example, in there. So even they lump in stores these things under the same title, which is just maddening. But I feel like some people, I guess, Japanese folks on the internet coined the term STG to specifically and unequivocally refer to shoot 'em ups. You do shoot in Call of Duty. I can't deny that. It is the truth. It's just not the same kind of shooting, is it? The True Mad Tinker, welcome. And yes, I agree. Shma is a little hard to pronounce. And plus, I get why shmup, that particular thing, didn't make it over into Japanese, because it just shmuppu. I don't know. I guess it's not that bad to say, but it doesn't make much sense linguistically. Does it even make much sense linguistically in English? I don't know. That's up for debate, I think. So many video games could be STGs. Then it's a categorization nightmare, really. Which is why this whole thing is so confusing. I don't like it. I flip-flop on the things that I call them all the time, partially depending who I'm talking to, but we get by. Sometimes I'll have to even clarify and be like, the ones where you're a spaceship and not a man with a gun. Though sometimes in STGs you are a man with a gun. So you can't even really use that reliably. It's a real nightmare situation, to be honest. But this is the world we live in, and what can we do? So I guess if we're trying to figure out where to start, I'm not starting at the beginning of shooting game history tonight. I mean, I guess that would be probably Space Invaders, which is a game I love, and I certainly will stream one day. But Space Invaders, I have a feeling it's not exactly the most exciting stream game, because you're really just playing for score, and you don't have a lot of dynamic elements going on in the levels there. You're really just cycling through kind of the same. From an outside perspective, at a glance, Space Invaders is a very deep game, and I would never say otherwise. I've given panels on it. I have a video on the YouTube channel explaining how to high score in it, how to deal with all the patterns. I love Space Invaders. It's very near and dear to me, and it is very, very rich in history. For anyone familiar with the Retronauts podcast, actually, I feel like it may have been a year ago or something, but Kevin Bunch, Ubersaurus, who may or may not stop by the stream tonight, one of the occasional hosts of Retronauts, did a Space Invaders episode, which I was on with Matt Alt. Some of you may know Matt Alt, and I think Diamond Fight may have been on that episode as well. It was a while ago, I don't remember. But we went through all sorts of interesting things to do with Space Invaders on that episode. So that's a good one to check out if you want to get your. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was a fun episode. It all kind of started when Kevin and I did a panel on it at MagFest one year, few years back, and we sort of spun a lot of the research we did off for that panel into that episode, and had Matt and everyone obviously contributing their unique perspectives to it as well. Oh yes, I'll spoil it, but we may be about to get into Gradius here. I feel like I'll only have time for about 3 of them tonight. I need to keep myself from going too long, or else I'll really regret it in the morning. But again, this won't be the last you see of shooters on this stream. It just so happens that the three of the ones I'm fairly confident in my ability to one credit clear are very early and influential examples. Space Invaders is very cute. Yeah, Lunar Loonies is kind of its own interesting thing. So I can't really show it on camera because it's downstairs, but last year at Midwest Gaming Classic, which is a retro gaming convention usually every April, sometime in April in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they have an arcade in there, and sometimes the people who bring their cabinets there will be trying to get rid of them, so they'll have price tags on them in case anyone's wanting to buy. And yes, I did kind of give away on the thumbnail with the big core there. Yeah, we all love the big core here. The big core is even at the top of my layout there too, right? Just to the upper left of the logo there. Natsukashi VT. Oh, welcome, Senpai Ted Bob. Ted Bob, my longtime friend and first Twitch subscriber. Thanks for coming. We're just about to get into some shoot 'em ups here in just a moment. But I was we were talking about, I guess the beginning would be Space Invaders. We're not going to play Space Invaders tonight, maybe another time. But last year at Midwest Gaming Classic, I bought a table, a cocktail Japanese version, so a Taito one, and not was it Midway or someone who brought Space Invaders here to the arcade. So a sit-down table cocktail Space Invaders Part 2 cabinet, which is maybe one of the coolest things that I own. But I do have a Space Invaders cabinet in operation in my house. I'm not as good at Part 2 as I am at 1, because they added some additional things in Part 2. They added in like this idea where some of the invaders kind of explode into like 3 different small invaders. Oh, somebody recognized. Oh, you recognized Sensei. You recognized Kutku back there. Yeah, I'm a big Monster Hunter fanatic. I've been playing Monster Hunter for When did Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii come out? Was that 2009 or something? I got into it with Tri on the Wii, and I've been hooked ever since. The new one, not amazing. But I did play it with my usual Monster Hunter crew, and we did kind of get what we could out of the content. Right? Yeah, pretend like it came out. To me, it really does feel like I was maybe not last year, but it does feel like it has not been as long as it has since I got into Monster Hunter Tri. Lunar Loonies is your favorite type of Taito game. It's an existing ID, but then Taito uses its special sauce. And yeah, Lunar Loonies is like, it's tied to Space Invaders, but it's its own real kind of special thing, isn't it? Doesn't Monster Hunter have gun? Monster Hunter is a shooting game. Oh God, yes, you can. You can indeed be a gunner in Monster Hunter. I've done it. My main is the Great Sword. It probably doesn't come up on camera, but I have some little to the side of Goku there on the side of my shelf. I have like some little things like kind of stuck with adhesive to the shelf, and one of them is a little tiny Great Sword. Because I'm a Great Sword main, but I've definitely done some heavy bowgun. Heavy bowgun is probably my secondary. So yeah, hammer user. I started out as a hammer user. I have a lot of love and respect for the hammer. That was the first weapon I picked up. And actually, one of the people, spin to win. Yeah, the golf swing. The golf swing is so satisfying. But my a Monster Hunter buddy took up the hammer, and though obviously you can have multiple people in a party with the same weapon, right? That's not a faux pas. But I thought, I don't want to get in her way. Like she's gonna want to be up there in the head, and we're gonna be kind of knocking each other around. This is back when it was a lot easier to hit each other and trip each other and knock each other around in Monster Hunter games. They've really improved on that these days. But back then it was a real problem, especially if you were a longsword user. Good God. You were just tripping everybody all around you. But I kind of backed off a hammer, and I was like, I'll use this as an excuse to try new weapons. And I totally fell in love with the Great Sword, and it's been my go-to ever since. Hunting Horn is your secondary. Yeah, I've dabbled in Hunting Horn. It's really like a mindset shift. I feel like it's not just like Hammer Part 2. I mean, in some ways it is, but having the buffs and debuffs being like a main mechanic of the Hunting Horn is really a shift that I wasn't quite able to maintain, but I, again, like a lot of respect for people who main Hunting Horn. It's a real thing. And those heals, you got to be grateful for those heals. Yeah, it's like the RPG argument, right? Like everything is an RPG if you try hard enough, right? Like, whoa, if it means you're playing a role, then isn't Super Mario Brothers an RPG? Like real, pedantic idiots who make that argument, but some people do. And so yeah, now everything is an STG, including Monster Hunter. Yeah, since I kind of brand these streams, mostly retro, and most of what I play is retro, to be fair. I'm not just doing that for the stream, but I do play some modern stuff, including Monster Hunter. And not that some of those Monster Hunter games aren't well into retro territory at this point, but I will find a way to work Monster Hunter into the stream somehow, maybe on like off days or something. If I have an extra day I can stream, I would love to stream some Monster Hunter because I love that game. But there are a lot of games that I love, up to and including shooting games, STGs, shmups, all that sort of thing. And so we're going to show off some of those tonight and save Monster Hunter for another day. Let me rearrange some stuff here real quick so I can be sure that I'm doing this correctly. And OBS, where in the world did you go? That's okay. Let's see if this... Yeah, okay, we're good. All right, so... We're not starting with Space Invaders. We're not even starting with Scramble, which was, you know, another big Konami one. In fact, we'll let the warm-up music play behind us here. We gotta warm up. That's a very, very important part of playing this game, right? Gotta head out in 10 minutes. I'll get to the point here then. I know this is such good music, right? It's so iconic. Like, all the Gradius music is iconic. But Konami's first big shooter was definitely Scramble. Reminds you of Christmas? Yeah, I guess I could see it. But Konami is not one of Konami, and there was Xevious and things like this, you know, games that were very, very influential and very, very popular in the arcade. But I really do feel like that if you're talking about the horizontally scrolling shooter, right? Like, this was not the first one, but I feel like most of what people think of as classic shmups come from Gradius. Because if you read a lot of developer interviews and, you know, creator interviews from the time, so many people were influenced by Gradius. Like, it's almost uncountable, really, how many people have been influenced by it and would just go into the arcade and you know, record music tracks off of it and things like that. Gradius 1 was my first one credit clear that I learned, which in retrospect is insane because this game is not easy. It suffers, as all the Gradius games do, from what people love to call Gradius syndrome, which is you have this power-up system, which you'll see in action in a moment, but it's that bar that you see down at the bottom of the screen. And so as you collect your power-ups, the highlighted entry on the bar shuffles over one to the right. And so you have a dedicated button for hitting when it lands on the power-up that you want to power up next. So it's kind of like, you know, a multitasking almost in a way playing this game. Where was I going with that? God, I just lost my train of thought completely. Right. So when you die, and it's easy to die in this game because your barrier, when you get a barrier, only covers you from the front in this game. Later entries in the series would fix that, but this one only covers you from the front. And when you die, you're completely depowered. You're back to zero, and you're sent back to a checkpoint. It's not even like real-time continuing like we'd see later in things like Salamander. So, theoretically, it's possible to recover from any of the game's checkpoints, but practically, nah. Some of them are just so rough that Gradius syndrome is you die, you reset. There's no point in trying to continue from whatever checkpoint you're dropped off at because it's just too much. It's just too much work to get back there. Exactly. And so I'm hoping not to die. I'm pretty confident in my ability to do this game, but there are levels that I still slip up in even now, and I'm going to try to recover, but we might end up doing a reset or two. And I have save states if we really need to push on with this, though I really would like to try to get the 1cc. Rumors of Gradius 3 being unfinished. Yeah, I would really love to learn a Gradius 3 one credit clear one day, but that shit is hard. I'm in the process of learning a Gradius 2 one, which I won't be showing off tonight. Spoilers, but that'll definitely come in the future. But 3, whew, 3 is an absolute terror. Gradius reminds you of the Lemmings because the Lemmings movement logic is loosely based on the missiles moving along the ground in Gradius. That's interesting. I never knew that. Lemmings facts being dropped in the Gradius stream here. All right, let's get going. We're gonna credit up, and here we go. Now, there are different schools of thought in Gradius as to when you get the order in which you get the power-ups, right? I like to get my speed-ups, my 2 speed-ups, no more than 2, otherwise it gets too fast, right away. I like to get that part right off the bat. I don't grab missiles first, I grab an option first, but, you know, there's no right or wrong way to do this, right? You handle it in whatever way works for you. And, hope for the best, right? And I already went past my missile, which is not great. So I'm gonna get that on the next go around. I don't think it'll bite me too hard here. We'll just have to kind of get these guys down there. Normally we'd have a missile to do that work for us, and we'd have a missile to get this guy down along the bottom here. Unlike the Famicom version, you don't get any score point bonuses for going going through that, unfortunately. We'll do the NES version on stream at some point too, because that's kind of its own thing in a way, I would say. Now we'll get some missiles. And I missed a power-up, that's okay. We're still pretty well on pace here, I would say. Grab ourselves a laser. Get here before the guns come. And see, now we've got missiles, so we can really start kind of letting those do some of the work for us. I missed more power-ups than I usually did. I would hope to have another option by now, but that's okay. So the volcano, I won't do the swag strat here just to be safe. But you got a nice little safe spot over here. This is like the one and only place you can actually touch the top of the screen. Otherwise, you're dead if you touch the top of the screen. But this is kind of the safe spot from the volcano. If you've got enough options and lasers, you can kind of go in front of it and just take the volcano things out as they're going. But I don't want to be that risky with two options. And the big core is kind of a chump, to be honest. He's cool looking. He's just not really much of a boss. And once you have the options and you can kind of spread the options out like you see me doing here, you really get a lot of good screen coverage and you can just take out enemies a lot faster. There's no option thief for getting 4 options like there are in some of the later Gradius games, so you can be a glutton and get all your options here and not have to worry too much about it. Gradius 3 and I believe onward, you want to stop, or sorry, Gradius 2 and onward, you want to stop at 3 options. Otherwise, the option thief will come and steal them away from you, and that's no fun. You want it. Great. All right, well, that was not planned, but I'm letting myself get distracted here. I am not used to streaming this game and talking while I do this, so I may make some boneheaded mistakes here. Tempted to reset this early on, I won't lie, but we're gonna try and play through it. This is going to be interesting. I mean, I guess I'm just going to try and react and dodge these guys as much as I can here. Because this is kind of another thing where you can get through this pretty easy if you just spread out your options and you're basically invincible. But these guys I think I can get through without, and it's just gonna, I might end up timing out the big core or something because he takes a lot longer to take out with just a weak little shot like this. Come on, big core. There we go. All right. And again, this is gonna make my life a little bit harder, but we'll see if we can get ourselves powered back up here and back on track. Oh boy, yeah, this guy's... I did not even necessarily mean to get the laser that early, but I kind of panicked when I saw that guy coming up, and it's like, oh boy, this is not gonna be fun. And so now we're at the Moai heads, and again, I would hope to be way more powered up than this. But we're gonna give it our best here. Get our other speed up. And they do not make things easy for you, these Moai heads, shooting their Cheerios everywhere, as you can see. Yeah, Yeah, thanks. Thanks for stopping by. Not a amazing start. But believe it or not, I have recovered on this level before. It's just not easy. We can kind of through. All right. And we're very, very depowered. I never got further in this. Yeah, level 3 I feel like is the wall for most people. That's not uncommon at all, I wouldn't say. These guys, I think I can get through depowered here, but the next level is going to be absolute hell in this depowered state, so that may end up being the reset, but we'll see. We're gonna give it an honest play. We're gonna play it out and see how it works. Because I don't. It's very easy to succumb to Gradius syndrome. I have done it many a time myself. And I try to tell myself, you know, just play it out. Play out the credit. See if we can at least get ourselves some options built up here. And generally speaking, you don't, especially when you're fully powered up, you don't need to do a lot of dodging and weaving in Gradius, but yep. So you really do get used to being powered up during these parts, and so unless you specifically practice it, you don't tend to have a lot of good practice dealing with like the adverse situations, right? Here, I'm just going to try and take these guys up at the top as quick as I can, but this is going to be pretty hectic because you've just got a lot more stuff on screen than you did on those early levels, right? And so I can't really... It's just a lot harder to deal with. Yeah, and I'm going to just get smoked by that volcano. We're gonna play it through to the end, though, and hopefully on my next trip around here, we'll get a bit luckier. Yeah, the volcano is real hard to deal with here. But somehow we got through that one. Ah, okay, cool, good. I'm just as glad, honestly. I'll give it another crack from the beginning here. One more time with feeling. I figured I did not think it would be that early. Generally speaking, I feel like I have the Moai heads down pretty well, but I kind of tripped up there. I thought it would actually be on level 4. Because there's some stuff on 4 that still gets me. Level 4 and the last level are the ones that still manage to get me even now. Oops. That's way out of sequence. Way out of sequence. That's okay. We'll grab another option here in a minute and we'll be more or less on track. The original Gradius and Capcom bubble system. Yup. That is a bubble system trait for sure. Bubble system, I don't have all the technical expertise to talk about it, but bubble system also had many technical problems to it as well, from my understanding, that made those boards a real nightmare to maintain. Yeah, Konami morning music. Actually, I don't know if they still do it, but Mikado, the Tokyo Arcade Mikado, used to use that for some of their morning streams. And I am just blowing past my power-ups here. Too busy thinking about Mikado, I guess. That's okay. We actually managed to get more options this time. I'm gonna try the swag strats here. No, I'm not. I chickened out. I didn't like my positioning there when the rocks started coming out. Mikado is a good luck charm. Hopefully they can passively give me some good luck for this run here. I can't believe I just did that. All right, we are resetting that. That was just a bad decision for me in general. This is just a save state going back to the beginning of the first stage here. And this time, I'm going to try to stay focused enough to do an option and then a missile immediately afterward, which is my normal path in this game. I used to do missile first, but I don't know, I kind of like having the power of that option, like, right away, you know? There we go. That's what I meant to do all along. So now we can use the missile to deal with those guys. Not that those guys are very menacing or anything like that, but... Yup. Woohoo, I almost collided with that. And so, I play most of my arcade games in MAME here. And I do typically put a rapid fire button on one of them, but I do not do it for Gradius. And the reason why I don't do it for Gradius is because the laser actually has a property where it's more effective if you don't rapid fire it. So like it kind of has this presence where it stays on the screen for longer than you might think. And I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. There we go. Hopefully I'm positioned right. And I don't get a stray rock going behind me. This is what people do to no! I did not like that. I don't know if that would have hit me or not, but I did not like that. It made me very nervous. But yeah, that's a point milking strategy. Just kind of helps with your score, getting all the volcano rocks there. There we go. But yeah, so people have gotten so good at Gradius, and I only really do one loop of Gradius. I haven't bothered learning second loop or anything like that because it actually gets quite a bit more difficult on the second loop, but people have gotten to where they can do so many loops of Gradius that they've made one play of Gradius at Mikado 200 yen instead of 100 because people can just loop that game so much and, you know, spend all kinds of time on it. I'm not good at doing, you're not good at doing extra loops of games. Yeah, I tend not to. It's just like, it's just kind of a thing where like I'd rather spend my time learning, you know, another game or something than learning a second loop. Unless the second loop is really not all that different from the first, and then I'll be like, okay, let's just see how far I can get. But, you know, I still got the clear or whatever, so I don't concern myself too much with loops either. So here you can just kind of camp out in the, you know, roughly the middle of your options, kind of covering yourself, and these things won't really touch you. Fudge your way through certain games with loops. Yeah, it really just does depend on the game for me, too. Gradius, it's just, from the beginning, they're so much faster. All right, we're going to do the cheese tactic here for Big Core. You can kind of camp out here at the bottom and just do this, and he can't hit you. His shots do deplete your shields. But that's kind of a safe, pretty low-risk way of dealing with them. Gradius! ASEPRL, welcome. Yes, we are playing Gradius. Everyone's favorite video game. And, of course, the tactic here, once you're fully powered up, is you want to keep your highlighted icon being the shield, so that when you run out of shield, you can immediately replenish it, assuming you're on the ball enough to do so, which I'm really hoping I am. I'm gonna try to keep my focus up here, and like it's not the end of the world if you miss it. Movement is just really, really important here because there's just a lot of shots on the screen at once. God, I knew that was gonna happen before I did it. Before it happened, I was like, nope, I am gonna run into that Moai head. So I'm stuck in Moai hell on this run, it seems like, which is unfortunate. We made it through there. But again, now, yeah, watch out for Cheerios. Those Cheerios, they're, I thought there was a trick OBS. One moment, if I'm still streaming. My computer had, maybe an OBS crash? I think that's what happened. Yep. It's been acting up a little bit lately. Give me just a moment if y'all can still hear me. I might just need to stop the stream for a second to give OBS a kick in the pants, as they say. One moment. Okay, when OBS crashes, it takes down a lot of things, including your microphone software. So now I'm getting meters down at the bottom, so I think we should be all good now. Cool. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, but now we are getting back to it. I just went ahead and paused MAME. Though, if we look at the screen here, I think I am about to collide with one of these projectiles from this boss. Yes. Oh, also, my controller is no longer responding in MAME. So, like, that OBS crash did a lot. So, hold on. Let me... I guess this is an excuse for me to do a reset, too. So, let me... replug in the controller, and we're actually just going to restart MAME here. And my God, hopefully... Yep, we got stick movement. We won't warm up again, for as much as I love that music. Okay, good lord. I wonder if it's a plugin or something that I have installed there. I'll have I'll have to do some OBS tinkering this weekend. Evening, Symptomatic Blackout. Welcome back. I had a little bit of technical difficulties there. We crashed in the middle of a Gradius run here. OBS betrayed me, but we're trying to get back on track here. Yeah, sorry about that. OBS also crashed my mic software and also made it so MAME was no longer recognizing my controller, so it was a whole ordeal. My first few streams, OBS was great, actually. Did not particularly give me any problems, but these last few... Oh, X-Mosquito, welcome, hello. Seeing your name pop up here, I'm not surprised to see it pop up for Gradius because I have watched several of your videos over the years. I'm pretty sure I even stole some strategies from you back when I learned my Gradius clear here, so welcome. Usually been lucky with OBS on your streams. Yeah, I am young in my streaming career yet, but I probably have been less lucky because I feel like now a full half of them have been not. OBS has crashed on me in some form or another. I'll have to do some good old fun OBS detective work to see like, what is it? Is it plugins? Like I don't really feel like I've installed anything new since then. They did help, thank you. Several, not just Gradius. I think I got some stuff from you on some of the Vigilante clears, which is a clear I did on stream myself last week. And probably a couple other ones as well. These days, there are a lot more things like narrated and commentated 1cc videos, but the ones that you commentated back in the day, like the Final Fight one, which, God, I'm still working on that Final Fight clear because that game is balls hard. But yours were some of the first that I found back in the day. And it was quite helpful hearing someone actually explain the strategies. Yeah, and the weird part is I can't even align mine to an update or anything like that. It might be plugins. I'll have to go on the plugin troubleshooting train, parade, whatever you want to call it, and see if I can get it. Initially, I was doing scene records, so I could record like the individual raw scenes while I stream, and I had all these like complex conditions that were triggering the records, and I was like, at first I was like, oh, okay, I guess I could see that being a problem. Like that just being too much for OBS or whatever. And so I actually disabled all that since last time, but apparently that did not necessarily fix the problem. And it seems like it only happens once per stream, fingers crossed. But we'll have to see what fate brings us this time around here. All right. Keep it together on the Moais, Brian. Keep it together. I had a couple runs so far where I kind of crashed out on the Moai heads, even though I've cleared this game quite a few times just on my own, but, you know, it's the live demo thing, right? Like, when you do it in front of other people, it's like, okay, you make all these dumb mistakes, and all that fun stuff. Why are they there? Because, I mean, why? Who amongst us can say, really, why the Moai heads? I'm gonna get these. I don't care. I'm just gonna plow through, even though I don't have much shields. Moai heads have become kind of a Gradius staple, right? Like this was obviously the first time in which they appeared, but they are. It can't be a Gradius game without Moai heads, right? Oh no. Okay. I don't like that. Yes, time for you to go away, please. Yeah, I am 100% with you on that. That's a really good summary of thoughts on Final Fight. Like, you're like, I swear I was consistent, but again, I saw it happening as it was happening. I was like, oh god, I've trapped myself against the side of the screen. So that's not great. But yeah, I want to learn it with Hagar. I am learning it with Cody initially. Just so I can kind of infinite punch my way through certain situations. But we'll eventually get around to learning Hagar as well. But I kind of want to get the Cody one down a little bit more solidly first. Oh, this is not going to be good. Okay, God, I'm amazed I'm survived this long, and this state of being depowered in this level is nothing short of a miracle, I would say. Though, I will say my plan on these bosses kind of revolves around being powered up. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Oh, thanks. I appreciate you checking out the vids. I think I can make this work. Yes. Truth be told, I am... Oh, God, this might get too fast. We'll see. I'm like mad... Thank you. Thank you for the subscription. I've only been a couple years on YouTube. So it's not, you know, horribly shocking that you haven't come across me, and I just started streaming. This is like my second week streaming, basically, so not really all that surprising, at least not to me. I am big into the retro arcade stuff, as you can tell, much like yourself. So I figured you'd find some stuff to like there. Yeah, I don't know. I am not sure how to get through this without in the depowered state that I'm in. So this might not be a good 1cc day for me for Gradius. I do at least have one game tonight that I'll be doing tonight that I'm pretty confident in. Proteus is supposed to, but Gradius doesn't actually take itself. No, I agree. Yeah, it's like Gradius doesn't actually take itself that seriously. I mean, it has Moai heads in it, for God's sake, right? Proteus, though, also very fun. Very fun game in its own way. Yeah, if you'll all forgive me here. Yeah, this is a very tough spot for recovery. What do we got? What are we at time-wise here? I might save state my way through this and at least resume from stage 4 with the save state, rather. Just so we can kind of move on with the show, and I'll do maybe be able to pull off a more proper Gradius 1cc later, but we'll just see how So, what I'm thinking the problem with this layout will be... Well, I mean, A, I'm going to get myself into the same situation, right? Where I'm just like, it's moving too fast. Maybe if I had a rapid fire button mapped, I could do it. But I tend not to. I tend not to do that in Gradius because when you have the laser, you actually don't want to be rapid firing. At least not in the arcade version, so it'll stay on the screen longer. Proteus has crazy rank. Yeah, I haven't learned. I haven't learned any of the Proteus games yet. They're kind of on my list. All right, forgive me. This is a save state from the beginning of stage 4 here. I have a couple other games I want to do tonight, so I don't want to camp out forever on Gradius. Do you, Ex Mosquito, do you do multiple loops on Gradius? Are you one of those people? I've never really done too much with the second loop. I just kind of, I call it a day after the first loop. See, this is a lot easier to manage when you have options to spread out, as we're kind of seeing here. Like, you definitely can still die in stage 4, but it's just a lot easier to manage when you're not depowered, is the thing. So you can kind of keep your options tailing up at the top there. And you're generally going to be looking pretty good. And I like... And, of course, I did the thing that I did not want to do, which is go down at the wrong time. So I think I'm ostensibly in the same recovery spot now here, so I basically painted myself into the same corner I was already in. 3-2, and then it all falls apart. All right, one more. Yeah, I don't know. We were talking about our preference for games with loops. And it seems like here most of us kind of fell down on the side of like, well, I'd rather... my personal outlook is like, I'd rather just spend the time learning another game than like... And I mean, some games are just like the second and third and whatever loop is not fundamentally any different, right? It's just like, oh, it's faster. And you can say that about Gradius, but I don't know. I kind of feel like it... I kind of feel like it is, you're really taking on a lot more with subsequent loops of Gradius. All right. I am, speaking of falling apart. Yeah, I guess though there's a reason that, arcades like Mikado made Gradius a 200 yen play to keep those crazy people from, sitting on the machine forever and completing all these loops of it. There are those among us who just want to sit here and play Gradius loops all day, I guess. All right. Hopefully I don't make any boneheaded mistakes here again this time. But, never say never. What? Okay, I legitimately did not even see what hit me there. It must have been a shot from something below. Let me see if I have a save state a little closer to the boss here, just so I can kind of move on with the show here. But how I normally handle the boss is... actually not all that dissimilar from what I was doing earlier. But the difference is... it's just way easier to deal with all this stuff when you have, a spread of lasers. A shot from the guy behind you on the ceiling. Okay. And so for this one, this is the only level I switched to double for. Because I just cannot deal with these guys with laser. I cannot do it. It is just way too difficult. Some people like double on the last stage. I still like laser for the last stage. Like, again, mistakes can be made for sure, but I feel like if I spread out the lasers, like even on the last stage, like I'm still pretty confident on it. All right, come on. Oh my god. Okay, this is... I don't think there's any way I'm doing this without double, to be completely honest with you. I'll call it the curse of the stream here, because usually this level is something I get pretty cold. But I will shamelessly... Well, shamefully, maybe. Start myself back here. All right. So I think my big mistake there is I didn't take down the guys at the bottom first. I went for the guys up at the top, and so the guys down at the bottom continuously shooting those bullets were just sort of making problems for me. But also, yeah, there we go. That's more kind of what I wanted to see. Also, I haven't derusted in Gradius in a bit, so there's that aspect of it too. But like I said, believe it or not, first 1 credit clear I ever learned. It took me forever. Since you've done quite a few of them, Ex Mosquito, curiously, what was the actual very first game you learned a 1cc on? Or anyone else here who can do 1cc's? What were your first games? We get our nice little parade of tentacle brains here. And you're being difficult by putting the arms behind you. Thank you very much. There you go. Get rid of you in case you cause a problem. Okay, yep, and this is... Yep. Are we gonna get that other... the slow-floating brain that... My god, has it killed me before? I'd be lying if I said that it hasn't. But I was like telling myself repeatedly here, like, remember, the brain can come in slow and screw you up. Remember, remember, remember. And so I kind of want to get myself back to laser as quickly as possible here. Which now we have. And then we just want to get our power-ups back to shield, and we'll be... Should be pretty okay in this level. Obviously, stage 7 will have some real, potentials for death here, but... Oh, you speedrun! Nice. I mean, that counts, right? It is a different form of skillful play, I would say. I cannot say I really have learned to speedrun for anything. I love watching speedruns. Yeah, I tend to just take the easy way out with this guy and just just nuke him pretty much. Clear the screen there. And then again, wait, this is kind of where you're sort of dealing with like not collecting power-ups because you don't, if you can help it, you don't want to cycle yourself past the shield for when you run out. But here, like, option spread is the name of the game. Like, it is what's going to keep you alive. Keeping those options up top so you can always cover the top of the screen with those guys constantly coming down on it. It's so, so important. So you're always kind of repositioning yourself to make sure you have top coverage with those options. And here is the part where I could potentially mess up. Hopefully I don't. But this is a little bit tricky because you get out, you get some runs of these guys, but then you have these things which you really have to get a certain position on to not have them completely overwhelm you, and luckily I managed to get that position. So now we're more or less home free. I never say never. God knows I've had some stupid deaths here. But for the most part, you can kind of camp out up here. Let your options trail behind you. Fire some missiles. Hopefully not be hit by those shots. Oh God, please let me not be hit by those shots. Oh my God, are you serious? Okay, all right, hold on. We can still do this. I think we can still do it. Yeah, nice. Nice indeed. I forgot when you die here, the thing on the middle doesn't actually come back out. But the thing is all we need to do is make it to the end. Though that is... I have died here actually a shockingly few amount of times. So I'm like, okay, how do you actually recover from this? Okay. Okay. We're in. And so the classic Gradius last boss, after all that pain, all that suffering, it's a last boss you have to do nothing to beat. So, done. It's just a brain that kills itself. And that's a loop of Gradius. Not my best. We're not going to do a second loop here. Certainly not my best Gradius play. I like to think that I had some decent spots in the middle there. But I don't need an excuse to play Gradius. So if only Mother Brain was that easy, God, you're not kidding. Mother Brain, whew. Depending on the game, Mother Brain can be a real pain. But like we like to do here on this stream, just to give some historical context to the games we play. For arcade games, we like to look at a magazine called Game Machine, which talks about rankings of arcade games based on popularity, based on income, sort of an amalgamation of factors, right? And we kind of like to take a look at the issue that the game we're playing debuted in, see where it ranked and see how it did, and also just kind of take a look at some interesting extra things in the magazine, right? Because there's ads in here. Sometimes we, to give like a high-level overview of articles and things like this. It is an industry publication, so sometimes it's a little dry. like stuff here we're not going to camp out on too long. But we're just going to kind of flip through this this July 1st, 1985 issue here. Namco apparently had a 30th anniversary celebration, so that's fun. Let's see here. You'll have to let me know, Symptomatic Blackout, if if on YouTube your books command worked. I have a bot that's supposed to be responding to those, and I was able to test it on Twitch a little bit more easy than I was on YouTube. So I'm not 100% sure that it works on YouTube, and also it does not. Okay, noted. I will work on fixing that. Let me no, because it won't come through. If you go to I'm trying to think of the best way to direct you to this. I'll drop a link in the chat here to my link tree, which has all the links to the books in it. Just give me a moment here. I'm having some issues with StreamerBot and it handling some of these things. So apologies for that. That is the link for my link tree, which you can get links to check out Gameplay Harmonies. And actually, I guess I'll just talk about this real quick now. So Gameplay Harmonies is a book I published year before last through Limited Run Games. I'm also a big Japanese music person as well, pop, rock, you name it. And I wanted to write about the games that exist that are about Japanese recording artists and musicians, not just, oh, so-and-so game featured the music of so-and-so artist. Like, no, the games themselves are about the artist. So there are more of them than you think. And so that was one of those books where it was like, well, if I don't write it, no one else is going to. And so I'm very proud of it. And actually next week, I want to take at least one of my 2 stream slots to actually start showing off some of these games on stream. They're not arcade games. They're all, well, most of them aren't arcade games. They're mostly home console games. But I want to kind of start showing those to people and talk a little bit about the artists and things like that, to do a little cross promotion, a little synergy, if you will, with the book. So that'll be fun. Hopefully that'll be fun for other folks too. City Connection. We got City Connection here. I love me some City Connection. I don't know if we have any other City Connection fans here, but that's a good one. What else have we got? Anything of interest here? Metro Cross. I'm not a big Metro Cross guy, I gotta say. Chambara. Chambara is apparently it's a Data East game. I'll actually have to check out Chambara. City Connection and Metro Cross. Yeah, I'm Metro Cross is fine. To be honest, I haven't played it a ton. Good Game Center CX episode though, the one on Metro Cross, but City Connection I love. Chambara is just a general Japanese word for like this kind of like samurai sword fighting, action type stuff. Oh, another Game Center CX fan. Awesome. If you haven't been to my site, 1millionpower.com, a lot of it is promotion for the videos, but I do have a bunch of translations I've done there over the years. And on there, I have a lot of translated interviews, Game Center CX interviews with Arino and some other of the staff members from different magazines over the years. So if you're a Game Center CX fan, 1millionpower.com, check that out. You can probably just search Game Center CX and get everything. I feel like 5, 6, 7 different ones translated there. I also, back in 2023, I got to go to Japan to the Game Center CX anniversary event at Saitama Super Arena. So it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and I hope I get to go back for whenever the next one is too. Original Hang On, we got the OG Hang On here, along with some sort of Sega UFO catcher. We got some Mahjong, of course. People who have been to the stream before know that Game Machine loves to advertise Mahjong games, and most of them are salacious in nature. We've got Crowns Golf in Hawaii, that's a thing. Oh, we've even got a Gradius ad, too. Oops. So we already know we've got it coming up here. Vincent Lee, welcome back. You missed a not as smooth of a Gradius playthrough of Gradius 1 that I would have liked, but we did get through it, and we're kind of looking through the corresponding issue of Game Machine here to see how it did, working our way down. Nothing wrong with sexy Mahjong? Well, my friend, you you are in for a treat if you like you some sexy Mahjong. On the upside, it's salacious, but on the downside, it's Mahjong. Yeah, that's a way of looking at it. Let's see here. We're almost to the rankings, but I kind of like to flip through some of the ads here to see what interesting stuff we have. We've got Senjo no Okami, Commando, ad for Commando. And we always get a lot of kids, sort of like children's entertainment rides. I don't really know exactly what you'd call them. But all right, here's our ranking. And we haven't gotten far enough into game. We've gone into the future in some of our other, Game Machine looks. And we know that there is a Mahjong section in those, but this is going back to 1995. So I guess by 1985, excuse me. So I guess by 1985, we hadn't gotten to Mahjong being as popular as it is in the arcade yet. We do still have our flippers, aka pinball machines section in here. So that's still a thing that's here. But let's look quickly at the table style arcade games. We've got the separated into table and upright cockpit. The uprights being, more what you think of when you think of American arcade machines, ones that you have to stand up for, and also sort of big sit-down attraction type games like your Outruns and things like that also kind of fall under this category. But for what we're looking at here, we're very much looking at the table style games. And Gradius, no surprise, number 1. So by a good margin too, and the rating is 8.50 versus Commando Senjo no Okami, which was 1 last issue, but has now been bumped down to 2 by Gradius. So I like me some Commando too, but yeah, can't touch Gradius, at least not for me. And you've got Sweet Gyaru by Nichibutsu. I am unfamiliar. But speaking of gameplay harmonies, we have Teddy Boy Blues from Sega at number 4. Not what I would call a good game, but it is interesting. Okay, Shino Yoko. I'd have to get the artist name in front of my face, or in front of my eyes. But it had a very popular pop star of the day sort of depicted in the game as a sprite, and also had a version of one of her songs playing in it. And you got the classics. You got 1942, right? I'm sorry. Gombe no I'm sorry. Yoko, yeah, thank you. I got, without having it in front of me, I was blanking on the name. But she has a real cool sprite representation at the intro of that. And that one, as we've seen, is an arcade game, and I would say the Master System version is respectable, but it's a My Card, I believe, the Master System version. But the arcade version is, of course, where it's at, as with most of these most of these games. We've got an arcade sequel to Lode Runner here, clocking in. We've got the previously seen Crowns Golf in Hawaii. You've got another Konami shooter in here, Twin B, which honestly I'd forgotten was before Gradius. I like Twin B. I am not, my skill level at Twin B is not even where my skill level at Gradius is. You've even got the Mahjong games kind of making an appearance here. Jiang-O, Ninja Princess from Sega. You've got Return of the Invaders. We were talking about Space Invaders earlier, so there's a little bit of that. I forgot to call out Metro Cross, too. We've also got Pac-Land. Go-Go Mr. Kawaguchi. Yuke Kawaguchi-kun. Which is a Taito game I do not know, but I feel like I should play. I like Pac-Land too, actually. I'm a big Pac-Land fan. I have good memories of going into the arcade at a Caesarland, like the old Little Caesars kind of family fun centers that they set up to compete with Chuck E. Cheese back in the day. We had a Caesarland pretty close to us growing up. And I think it was a little after the fact, but they had a Pac-Land in there that I used to enjoy quite a bit. And we've also still got Xevious hanging around here too. Speaking of influential shooters, it's kind of, working its way down the list because it's been on here for a while now. But it went up from 25, so it's still doing work. And you've got some of the Versus system or VS system stuff on here as well. You've got tennis down here at the bottom, and you had baseball up here at number 9. Konbanwa, Anajaksu, Florida do datta? Florida. Yeah, we just got done with a Gradius 1 playthrough. It did not go as smoothly as I'd hoped. I did not 1cc it. I got caught up on a few things, but we did end up clearing it, and we're just kind of looking at where it landed in Game Machine, and it landed at, unsurprisingly, number 1 after it came out. So Gradius, kind of a big deal. No one in Florida that you met, no Florida locals were familiar with the Yoshikazuya song Florida. How dare they? Are they even really allowed to be residents in their own state at that point? He didn't sing a song about Illinois. He didn't sing a song about Michigan. He only sung a song about Florida, as far as the states go that I'm aware of. So they don't know what they've got. But yeah, this was kind of a snapshot of June 1985 to 11 bucks. That's not real. You did not go to that. Oh, okay. Yeah, again, regulars to the stream will know that Game Machine likes to show us salacious Mahjong games. And Sweet Gal here. Sorry, my mistake. We've got Sweeto Gyaru and Sekshi Gyaru. We've got a real smorgasbord of Gyaru here to choose from in our salacious Mahjong series. Your Mahjong, do you really have a Mahjong backlog? Symptomatic blackout? I can't tell if you're doing a bit here or if you're serious. But yeah, you want sweet, you want sexy, you've got a choice. You've got choices here in the exciting world of Mahjong metal games. A ton of Saturn Mahjong games. Interesting. I assume on the Saturn there are some salacious ones. I know the Saturn has a not insignificant library of salacious games. Yeah, PC Engine is probably the one that's really known more for it, but I think it leaked a little bit into the Saturn as well. We'll kind of look over here to the right to the overseas readers column to see what they're talking about. Licenses, Capcom license. It's Commando to Data East USA for North America. I guess I didn't realize that. I guess this would have been before Capcom was publishing its own arcade games in North America, though. So I guess it leaned on Data East for the distribution. Not too surprising there. This is 1985 Enerjax. I don't know if this means like Gyaru in the same way as like, you know, Kogyaru necessarily, because I mean, look, we don't really have much of a Kogyaru look going on here, right? Like they're I guess what, bunny girls, and I mean that's just a regular girl. That's not that's not a bunny or a cat or anything. But I think Gyaru in this case was probably just because this is just anecdotal, but I feel like you never hear Garu. You just sort of hear Gyaru as the way they just Romanize girl. I could be off base here, but then when, you know, Kogyaru came around, it sort of took on, you know, its own different connotation when it got shortened to Gyaru and things like that. So I don't know, you know, the exact history of it. I'm just sort of spitballing here. But yeah, that would be an interesting thing to look at, like when Gyaru used in that context really came about. But we do have a Metrocross ad here. Apologies that it's tilted the other way. I don't think there's a way I can easily rotate that in Acrobat here. But yeah, it looks like we got him running, jumping over his cans like he does in Metrocross, jumping over everything. So that's Gradius. We do have another couple I want to try and get through here. And we'll see how my luck is on these. I feel like some of these are a little less fraught for me than Gradius. So let's switch our scene here. But we got a couple more for you. So moving forward, I believe a year. Let me kind of fact check myself here. I'll go back to 4x3 game and back to MAME. Kick the can clear never stops. I mean, the intention of it never stops. It's just that sometimes it fails, unfortunately. So let me switch our stream explainer information here. So for our next game, we fast forward to the year 1986 from 1985, and we switch publishers to Sega. And we're looking at Fantasy Zone. Very different aesthetics, as you can see right from the start. Fantasy Zone, a very, very pastel, very sort of candy-colored game, if you will. Sorry, just checking the sound on stream there with those sound effects. By Sega, and as you'll see in a moment, it's just a very different kind of shooter. It is still horizontally scrolling, but it's free scrolling. So, and you can kind of see it here even from the demo reel. Like in Gradius, for example, you're always moving to the right, right? Like the screen is always scrolling to the right. I could say, obviously you can move your ship back to the left, but you're always sort of moving forward to the right. Oh, we unlocked a Dio. You thought, what's the meme? You thought it was Fantasy Zone, but it's me, Dio. Yeah, I put a panel on the Twitch page for the sub emotes, by the way. Lots of cool ones in there. Some of the animated ones from our very own Enerjax. I wasn't able to fit all of her lovely emotes on there yet, but we'll get there in time when we unlock more slots. And the other ones by the Pixel Pigeon, the same artist who did my layout. But Fantasy Zone free scrolling, so you can continuously scroll the screen to the left and to the right, which really changes the way a game like this plays, right? And Opa Opa is our ship. We can see the story here. Long ago, far away in space, there existed a fantasy zone where a courageous hero called Opa Opa, the player, fought in a valiant cause to rescue the fantasy zone from its enemies. In the space year 1422, the interplanetary monetary system collapsed. This is fast, causing all the planets to become panic-stricken. According to the official inquiry made by the Space Guild, someone is leading the non-planet forces, using them to steal the foreign currencies of the other planets, and with the funds, construct a huge fortress in the fantasy zone to put an end to their ambitious plans. Opa Opa promptly takes off from the fantasy zone. Where? Demon Kogure can eat ramen. I'm sure he's eaten many a bowl of ramen. But now you can make him do it. French fries and French fry hair and ramen. You need a pixel, you riding Opa, oh my gosh. That would be, maybe that's one for the future. You mean in terms of the ROM version? Let's see. Revision A, which is just kind of the first one I landed on. I admit to not be super familiar with like the changes they've made between the ROM versions, because there are a few of Fantasy Zone. So it looks like we're on revision A. I believe this might have been a world one. I can't remember if this is a J or a W. But this one I absolutely will have a rapid fire button turned on for, because it just makes Fantasy Zone a whole heck of a lot easier. I would prefer not to get RTS if I can help it. And so my stance on setting a button to auto fire, like, yes, it breaks some games more than it does others. I do not think it breaks this game at all. I do not think it is cheating. And so that is my opinion on the whole thing. So let's get some Fantasy Zone going here. We got it's a 2-button game here. We got a bomb and a shot. And give me the shop. Where's the shop? Shop, thank you. There's a shop in this game. So you can upgrade yourself. I am a fan of the jet engine, though some people think it's too fast. And I usually start out with the twin bombs, as now we can drop 2 bombs instead of 1 here. And we're moving ourselves to the right. See, we can go back to the left if we want, and we're destroying these bases, which we get kind of a miniature radar down on the bottom there to give us like a general idea of where the bases are located. Other versions of this game, like on the Switch and whatnot, will give you like a helpful widget that actually like gives you a real map. But this game is harder than it looks, because you've got enemies just flying all over all the time, and you gotta collect that money so you can get better upgrades. And we've got our first boss here. I do not know the names of these bosses. I'm not that engrossed in the Fantasy Zone lore. Maybe, perhaps someone here does, but I do not know them. And then if you watch the Game Center CX where he played the Mega Drive version of Fantasy Zone, he shouts, "Kane, kane, 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 kane," when he's collecting the money. Like, money, 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 money. And if you trigger certain events, I do have a sound clip of him saying "Kane, kane, 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 kane" here on the stream. I generally do not need to buy anything at the shop again for a little bit for the next couple levels. I really just kind of make my way through here. And we're now to another boss. And so this guy is a wall for some people, because he has kind of random patterns of these things that he drops. And God knows I have gotten stuck in some bad ones where I just wasn't able to find the hole in time. Like, he's giving me some pretty rough ones right now, actually, to be honest. $10 in the cheese machine in the arcade as a kid. Yeah, totally. And here I also don't tend to buy anything from the shop either. I can generally make it through this level pretty okay just on my own. I'll just kind of I'll wait a minute to look at chat so I can focus on this a little bit here, because we've got these butts shooting out stuff at me that I am not a fan of. And there we go. So the cool thing about Fantasy Zone, though, is that death is not really that much of a detriment. So you can go here and you can rebuy your power-ups, right? You can even buy extra lives. So if you collect that money, you can still kind of force your way through it. So in a way, this makes it a little bit more, you know, one credit clear friendly, because death is not the end, unlike something like Gradius, right? Oh boy. Okay. Nope. We're not messing with you guys. Sorry. The MD one is Super Fantasy Zone. Yep. Not one that I know a one credit clear of. Super Fantasy Zone, very different game. Like it's not particularly an arcade port or anything like that. It's its own unique title. So what I usually do is I get this last one and I kind of dodge and weave in and out. There are people who go up from the bottom. Red Spectra, hello, welcome. We did a playthrough of Gradius 1 earlier. I did not one credit clear it. I kind of hit a couple hang-ups. We saw that it was #1 in Game Machine, and we moved on to Sega's Fantasy Zone now, which I think there's a decent chance I can one credit clear this one. Yeah. Never say never. I could still mess up. Yeah, and this, oh god, I should have bought a power up for this boss. This guy is kind of a nightmare if you're just doing him raw, to be honest. Oh god, nope. Yep, I got myself into a... Fantasy Zone is kind of its own unique animal, isn't it? Like, there's not another shooter that's like it, but generally what you're trying to do for this guy is just do your best to maneuver around his bullets, and just by maneuvering, you can kind of naturally see what of them you've hit and what you haven't. And yeah. So we got to get into that shop immediately and buy ourselves an extra life, because now if we die, we're kind of out of luck, right? And plus, this is honestly kind of where the game starts getting hard, I feel like. We're gonna do an extra ship, and we're gonna do a 7-way shot. So 7-way shot, super good in this game. And weapons, you can see the meter up at the top, actually, right, of the weapon. That's the weapon, like, going away, basically. So, like, weapons are limited use. Like, I bought this, but I don't get it forever. Unfortunately. I would love to have a 7-way shot forever in this game, but it's just not going to happen, no matter how much I want it. Okay, now we got some guys giving us the business here. Get me into the shop, sure. I'll not cheat, but cheese my way through this. Why not? And I mean, as these enemies get harder, right, and like more shots get on the screen, the 7-way shot is really gonna help you. And so I'm actually trying to run this out. And I'll tell you why. Because the strategy with these guys and their teeny tiny little bullets is that you want to take out all the little guys. And I'm doing this very carefully. Because as you can see, some of those bullets are really and truly tiny. And then you want to take out not all of these guys. You just want to take out the top and the bottom ones, which I'm now trying to, like, maneuver my way back to. Oh, God. Okay. Not what I wanted to see. But generally speaking, like, you can... Oh, God. Okay. Well... Sloppy. We're gonna give that one more go from the top. See if I can opa sound shower. Same, I believe Hiroshi Kawaguchi did both the soundtrack to this and... So you may have a little shared DNA there. All right, we're gonna give Opa Opa another chance here. Give me my shop. But I love the music in this game. It's not like a lot of Sega's other music, I wouldn't say, but I think it's something pretty special. There's been lots of good arrangements of songs from Fantasy Zone over the years too. Like if anyone's familiar with like Blind Spot or Sega SST Band, they've done some real amazing Fantasy Zone arrangements over the years. I'm a huge SST Blind Spot guy. I love Zuntata as well, but if you're gonna make me pick, I'm gonna pick the band that gives me like solos that are gonna melt my face off. So I end up coming down on SST Blind Spot as my preferred game music house band. But yeah, I get back to the I wish I was good at Fantasy Zone comment. I feel like you have to get yourself used to it. And this is just a game I really wanted to learn, and so I kind of made myself get used to the movement. Especially with the faster power-ups, like the one I'm using. It takes some getting used to. And I think that this sort of unique perpetually like side-scrolling thing turns a lot of people off to it for sure. It is something of an acquired taste. And I don't have much experience actually with the subsequent Fantasy Zone game. How? Some of the patterns that guy gives you, I swear, if you don't look at them quickly enough, it's like, well, you're just boned. That's okay. And then you get super easy ones like that, and it's like, what are your standards, sir? How do you decide on the complexity of your patterns? Mostly just use money for lives. Yeah, totally. I have those runs too, and I'm hoping this is not one of them. But we'll see. It's so easy to make mistakes, especially if you're moving fast. Like running into things is not hard. The other kind of trick you can use is throwing out your bombs at these bases too to take them down a little bit quicker. It's like things can drop out of places and shoot shots like very unexpectedly. And so some of the time you're just doing like you're doing crowd control in a shoot 'em up, which is not necessarily something you want to be doing, at least not like this. Like you guys, if you could get out of my way, that would be fantastic. And if you guys could get out of the way, so... And this guy, we're gonna do the same way we always do. Which is using our missiles to cheese them as long as we can, and then we'll switch to taking out that last one at the bottom there. Oops. They are. There's a lot of... I would describe a lot of the enemies in this game as frolicking. That is probably a term you can use a lot in this game. All right, I'm hoping that that shop follows me a little bit longer because what I really would like to do... Oh, God. Shop! Oh, no, shop, where did you go? Oh. Okay. Give me the shop. Oh, thanks for coming, Enerjax. All right. We're gonna get ourselves an extra ship. I also wanted to get a 7-way shot for this boss, but I ran out of time. So we're gonna hope this goes well. Like I said, I very well may end up using all of my money on lives too. We will see. The real pain about this guy is when you get down to, you know, his last few tendrils, you have to kind of keep track of which ones haven't turned orange yet. And so you have to get your vision off of dodging the bullets. So it becomes a little tough. But 7-way shot will get you through a lot. Especially later on when these levels just become grueling like this one. Like from here on out, it's torture in some of these levels, I feel like. So like getting as much of that 7-way shot as you can is... I would love a shop, thank you very much. But, I mean, again, for a game, you know, without a shield, like a 7-way shot is not, you know... It doesn't keep you from being hit with shots! Let me see if I can... Alright. And I took my eyes away for a second, and all it takes with those guys, I swear. Really, what we're trying to do, again, is take out the first row of little guys. And then, ideally, we want to take out only the top and bottom ones. And we're going to actually dodge these for a little while. And I'll show you why we're going to dodge these for a little while. Because this boss is kind of a nightmare. So see how he's closing in? So he's got this gap now where you can circle back behind him. And so you can kind of do these loops for a little bit to, you know, avoid the fire, right? And you might ask, well, what, are you just going to loop around him forever? No, I'm not. Stay with me. Stay with me. And they've stopped firing. And now we can just kill them. So, a little bit of a bug exploit there. I assume it's a bug and not an intended feature, because that would be kind of weird if it was an intended feature. All right, so we got to buy back all of our stuff. All right, this is where it gets even more real, because you've just got all kinds of stuff coming at you now for this and the next level. It is not a fun time. And that's why we're gonna lean on 7-way shot here as much as we can. But again, unfortunately, it does not last forever. But, yeah, no, go away. God's sake. Gatekeeping me from being in the shop. Nothing but a bunch of gatekeepers. Alright, so I believe this boss is the one... Yep, okay. 7-way shot's not going to do me too much good here. Though it does slow down the boss, apparently. So you gotta hit that eye in the center, and the movement gets faster and faster as you hit it more and more. Sometimes you can get bombs in there. I'm not too great at doing that, personally. Especially when it starts moving faster. And it becomes, you know, pretty hellish. Thank you, Red Spectre. All right. We're gonna get ourselves another 7-way. I'm gonna safety buy myself another life here. Because we still got the boss rush at the end, spoilers. And here we get like the bases stacked on top of each other even, which is makes things difficult in its own way. Okay. Took my eyes off of it for a second there. Let's see. What can we actually replenish? Yeah, the prices of things keep going up as well, by the way, the more you buy them. So like the more you buy a thing, the more expensive it becomes. So it's not like everything has you know, the same low price all the time, right? Where's that last one? Here it is. What? Are you serious? I hit one of the enemies at the bottom there. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see if I can even do this without the twin bomb. And without a speed up. Okay, I guess you can. Alright, so we're entering, we're entering the boss rush. We cannot buy an extra life, which is very unfortunate, because that means my strategy that I usually use on this will not work. Let's see. Let's play this out. And if I need to, I'll go from a save state to kind of show you the last... how I usually handle the last boss. Yeah, that boss does have a really cool visual effect, doesn't it? Some of these bosses are just really neat ideas, like really neat implementations of ideas. Just like, you know, from a pure game design perspective, right? Giving me all the easy ones there, jeez. I don't know what people's feelings on the idea of a boss rush are. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you pretty indifferent and it's just, you know, kind of the part of the deal? I can appreciate a good boss rush. Yeah, you don't mind them. I'm kind of with you. Sometimes they're more of a pain in the butt than other times, but that just sort of depends on the game and depends on how they're done, right? And now I'm finding myself having to pay a little bit more attention to what... Oh, God, okay. Alright. Instead of starting us back at the beginning, I'm gonna start us from the beginning of the boss rush. RIP, yeah. My luck is not good tonight. What can I say? Let me... my save states might be invalid for this because of a MAME update, unfortunately. That's what happens when you keep MAME up to date. Sometimes they make changes where save states you had for previous ones just don't don't carry over. Well, let's leave it at this. We'll definitely play Fantasy Zone again. I was almost to the last boss. For those who don't know, and I actually do a Fantasy Zone. No, it's all good. I'm not too bothered by it. I have a Fantasy Zone guide on the YouTube channel where, yeah, we're about to go into that symptomatic blackout. So the last boss is like a giant black version of Opa Opa, and when you apparently it is Opa Opa's dad. So basically, Opa Opa ends up killing his own father at the end, and it's like this sort of terribly depressing ending where it's something like, you know, Opa Opa has, you know, triumphed, whatever, but was it really worth the cost the price that he had to pay? So it's like a surprisingly dark ending for what the aesthetic that Fantasy Zone offers, right? We'll do another attempt to on this one day, but if anyone's interested in a guide, which also does show the ending, yes, very poetic, you can check out the YouTube channel and see a Fantasy Zone guide, which also shows you I mean, obviously you can just look up Fantasy Zone on YouTube and probably find a million and one different people beating it and kind of showing you how it's done, but that's all right. So now we come to magazine time. So as a beginner myself, this one seems much easier than Gradius. I would agree it's easier than Gradius. If for no other reason than because death isn't so punishing, right? Like, because it has that shop mechanic and because you can buy your power-ups back basically immediately with money, that you still kind of have hope. It's difficult and it's a little bit of a trade-off. It's difficult. It's more difficult in some ways. It's less difficult in others, I would say. That last boss, which regrettably I did not get to show, it's the easiest way to beat it is to take an intentional death so you can go back to the shop, buy the heavy bomb, and get his really last fastly moving phase taken care of much more quickly. I'll do another Fantasy Zone stream sometime, and we'll get through it. Maybe on a day when I have less time constraints here, and I can go a little bit later. All right, but now we are in April 15th, 1986. So little less than a year from the issue that we looked at for Gradius. So apart from the normal boring stuff here, we've got this to me looks like, if I'm not mistaken, this almost looks like what Taito did with the Famicom disk system version of Kiki Kai Kai, but that's not actually what we're looking at. Lots of Maneki Neko there over on the right. What do we got? We got a Jajamaru-kun ad on the apparently he was running on the Versus system, so I guess it's probably just the Famicom game. Just what the Versus system was all about. Quartet. Ooh, this is another one I'd actually really like to learn. Anybody, any Quartet fans out there? It's a real interesting one. Galloping Ghost has a 4-player Quartet cab, and that's a very fascinating game to me with also some really good music. Another Sega classic as far as I'm concerned. Darwin from Data East, not one I'm terribly familiar with, though I have heard of it. Obviously a shmup. Looks like we've got some other amusement center stuff. Skyship, different types of helicopter rides, more amusement park territory. What do we got here? We've got the, how was this described when this came up in one stream? God, someone called it I think Ubersaurus called it a Vectrex that can make you a margarita. Because it is very Vectrex looking, whatever this machine actually is. I'm trying to scan it to see if I can actually ascertain from the text, like, what is the purpose of this machine? It's talking about oshibori, like heating, like it can heat like hot towels and things like this. Anyway, I'll take a closer look at that later and come back with a report for next time. What else have we got before we get to rankings? Super Sprint, got some Atari stuff being like reverse imported into Japan. Robo Soccer. I love the ad here. Are you saying to yourself, Mission Impossible? We can locate all games, new and old. We've got Dr. Swing, which it looks like this. Yeah, this might be like one of these things that exists still today, though they're obviously much more technologically advanced, like a simulation type deal to help you with your golf swing. How effective is it? I don't know. I'm not much of a golfer. Not really a golfer at all, to be honest. All right, and so now we come to our rankings. So we've got Ikari from SNK, Ikari Warriors, of course, just called Ikari in Japan, staying at number 1, and we've got an ad for it over here we'll look at in a minute. So Ikari apparently did quite well in Japan as well. Fantasy Zone coming in at number 2. I'd say very, very respectable, not too far behind Ikari there. So good place for Fantasy Zone to be. Big Event Golf from Taito. We've got Darwin 4078 there, which we saw the ad for from Data East, which they misprinted as Data East. Major League from Sega. Halley's Comet, another Taito shooter. Not quite on the level of Fantasy Zone, I wouldn't say. Ryaru Mahjong. This real Mahjong. Yep, we got real Mahjong right here, right under Halley's Comet. We've got lots of the Gyaru series from Nichibutsu, I feel like, but we've also got Mighty Guy, so apparently they're equal opportunity. I feel like every Nichibutsu title we've seen in these rankings have been something Gyaru, but like with a different adjective in front of it. Jailbreak from Konami. We've still got Gradius. Again, I just want to remind everybody, this is nearly a year after the last issue that we looked at, and Gradius has fallen from number 1 to only number 11 in that time. So the staying power of Gradius, if you ever doubted it, it's on display right here. You've got, of course, World Cup from Tecmo. Storming Party from Taito, not one I'm familiar with. Of course, Hopping Mappy from Namco. Pinball Action. Competition Golf from Data East. ASO, Aryan Mission. Terra Cresta, which is another... These are the kind of Nichibutsu games I'm more familiar with. Like their early shooters like Moon Cresta, Terra Cresta. Also, much more simplistic than something like Fantasy Zone, but still staples, right? You've got 1942 hanging on. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. An Atari joint. Slap Shooter, which I'm assuming is a hockey thing. Tiger Heli, good old Tiger Heli from published by Taito there. Iki, a Sunsoft classic. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with Iki or likes Iki. I like how this is an accurate translation, Farmer's Rebellion, but as far as I know, was the Iki localized overseas as Farmer's? It must have been, because normally when they have a tentative name, they do it like this. They put an asterisk after it to indicate that, well, this isn't the official name. This is just what it might be So maybe it was actually released as Farmer's Rebellion, though I feel like no one likes Iki who isn't Japanese. At least that's my experience with it. And we've still got a Load Runner game on here, and we've got Jango, like more Mahjong. Mahjong just keeps coming. And by 1986, we still don't have the distinct Mahjong category on here yet. Maybe we'll see that in the next issue after the next game we look at. But let's look at some of the uprights here real quick, and some of the uprights and cockpit style cabs, since we've got some maybe more interesting ones in this issue than we did in the last one. Gauntlet by Atari. Gauntlet did a lot for the arcade world, good and bad, right? I am a noted believer that when people say, oh, you know, when they call arcade games quarter munchers, they're just trying to take your money and blah, 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 blah with their impossible difficulty. I do not think that is true of a lot of arcade games. Certainly some arcade games do engage in really cheap behavior, but a lot of it to me is like, no, you have to learn the game on its terms. Just because you couldn't get through it organically on your first time does not mean it's trying to steal your money. Pidge LOL, Pidgelaw, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We just almost finished a full playthrough of Fantasy Zone. I ran out of credits right at the last boss rush and discovered that my MAME save states were no longer valid after some upgrade or another. So we cut it a little short, but we're kind of doing what we always do here. And look at where it fell in the Japanese arcade world, how it fell in Game Machine, the rankings of Game Machine. And at number 2, as it turns out, in fact, Fantasy Zone, a well-loved game, but we were just kind of looking at the upright and cockpit style games. And I was just saying that I think Gauntlet is an arcade game that literally wants to take your money, because the mechanic of it is fully based around that, right? So I think some later Gauntlet games are much more interesting ones to play as games. But Gauntlet 1, man, I don't know. I can't get down with Gauntlet 1 when it is so clearly just trying to bring in as much revenue as it can at the expense of the design of the game, right? That's my take. Different people might have different outlooks on it. But we've got some perennial Gauntlet not even having an ending is pretty predatory. Oh, I forgot about that particular point. But yes, yeah, just almost with this assumption like nobody's going to make it to the ending of this game. And if they do, who cares? Because they already dumped in all their money. We don't need to give them anything. Yeah, that's pretty predatory. I agree with you. But we do have some games that aren't predatory, like a couple different versions of Space Harrier here. The rolling type, which is the fully deluxe one, which was at number 1, believe it or not, before Gauntlet came along. So Gauntlet even it even did well for a while in Japan too. Like definitely Japanese people know Gauntlet. So you've got the rolling type of Space Harrier here. You've got the sit-down type of Space Harrier here. And you've got the ride-on type of Hang On, still hanging on. Super Dead Heat from Taito. Buggy Boy from Tatsumi, not one that I know. The sit-down type of Hang On. RF2 from Konami, Ultra Quiz, which certainly was not a sit-down. It must have been an upright. So the quiz game takeover is beginning here in 1986, apparently. You've got Pole Position 2, and you've got, Atari's famous sit-down, right? Star Wars. And you got your flipper, your flippers, your pinball machines, all of which are from, Williams and Gottlieb and companies like this. We do have an Ikari Warriors ad here. For basically an announcement that says, for everyone who has purchased an Ikari Warriors board that they are basically pressing new versions of them. Yep, that will work with the same control panel. So, yep, I guess really what it was is we saw over here just a second ago that Ikari Warriors was number 1. So probably they were having a little bit of trouble keeping up with sales. And so it looks to be them saying like, don't worry, we're making more. We got it under control. Can we at least agree that quiz games are worse than Mahjong? That's I'm examining my own thoughts on that. And to be clear, I don't have any sort of like inherent dislike of Mahjong or anything like that. If I'm being honest, I don't really know how to play it. And so if I actually engaged with it, which I would like to do one day, I might appreciate it a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, I guess putting myself in a situation where I understood the rules of Mahjong and I enjoyed playing Mahjong even to a small degree, then yes. In that scenario, I would say yes, I would put a Mahjong game over a quiz game. If maybe that's not the answer that you were looking for, but that is my concession to answering yes to that. I don't love quiz games either. Like I think they're way more fun to watch on Game Center CX. Those are some of my favorite Game Center CX episodes, are the ones where they kind of divide the categories of quiz questions between the different staff members. I am going to give it a chance. It's one of those things that has kind of been on my list to learn forever, and it's just more of a time thing. I could make time for it, of course, and one of these days I certainly will. So Mahjong, especially as we've seen in the Japanese arcade industry, right? It's so pervasive. Like, I feel like I should really at least have a basic understanding of knowing how to play it, right? We've got Scramble Formation, Big Event Golf, Hore Mogu, like Dig Mole. It looks like this is I don't know what you want to call this, maybe some type of redemption game, or, certainly not a video game. Scramble Formation, aka Tokyo, spelled like the Japanese pop group. Tokyo, Tokio. Oh, here we go. An ad for Tatakai no Banka, aka Trojan. Now, if there are people here who have thoughts on Trojan, I would love to hear thoughts on Trojan. It was one of the earlier games that I played for scrolling down the belt. And the NES version, pretty straightforward, clear if you spend a little bit of time for it. But the NES version also pretty different. The arcade version is really pretty tough. That is a game that is not afraid to hand it to you and give you the business. That is another one that I would like to learn at least a 1-loop clear for, because the true ending is a 2-loop clear. But I would like to learn it. I do not know how long it would take me to learn it, because that arcade game is just real tough. I think it does some cool stuff, though. That was the game that Takashi Nishiyama worked on after not immediately after. I think like there was another shooter in there in between Kung Fu Master, aka Spartan X, and Trojan, but Trojan was one of his early ones for Capcom. He grew up playing NES Trojan. Yeah, NES Trojan I think is a breezier clear, right? It has less weird stuff. You got to learn the tricks for arcade Trojan to get through it is the thing. So, all right, that's Fantasy Zone's placement, but we got one more game we want to try to get through tonight. And I don't want to jinx it, but this is probably the game that I have 1 credit clear the most out of anything, and so I'm really hoping I don't flub this one. Let me just change up the game info here. This was an early 1 credit clear for me. It's not my first. My first was Gradius, as I said. But this one is probably more near and dear to my heart because I absolutely fell in love with this series when I learned the clear for it. This is Darius, pronounced Darius, by the way. I know a lot of people say Darius. And I'm not here to be the pronunciation police. I'm really not, I promise. But oh, sorry, wrong scene. There we go. That fits it a little bit better. And yeah, sorry, this is a, actually, you know what? Before we get to Darius, before we get to Darius gameplay, I wanted to show you all why it looks the way it does. Because as I'm sure you're noticing here, it's much wide. It's not a 4:3 aspect ratio. Yep. We're getting there. But as you can see, it has essentially, it's not exactly a 16:9 aspect ratio, but it's much greater than 3:4. And so I don't have a layout that fits this perfectly. I might have to work on that. Yeah, and again, I'm not, to say it however you want, right? Like no one's being the pronunciation police here, but it is Darius if you look at the katakana. And so that is how I tend to pronounce it. But I really fell in love with this game and just like the atmosphere and how it plays when I learned the 1 credit clear for this. And so I'm going to pause. Actually, I'll leave this running, but I'll switch my scene quickly because I had a couple images I wanted to share here to kind of explain why the setup works the way it does. So Darius comes in a cabinet that looks like this. I know it's a bit, we have some better pictures of it, don't worry, but I just kind of want to give you a view of it from the outside here first, and then we'll look at some closer up ones. So we'll talk about the monitors in a second, but the Japanese, so this was released in the West as well. The Western one is a stand-up. It's also kind of a big elaborate cabinet with the monitor situation that we're going to look at in a second here, but it's stand-up. Here you can see this one is sit down. Now, inside of this seat is a technology that they called Body Sonic. The sound on this cabinet is amazing. If you find a properly tuned Darius cabinet, Mikado in Tokyo has one, Hey in Tokyo has one, Warehouse used to have one, but Warehouse unfortunately is no more. And they're scattered throughout Japan, but there are not a lot of them these days because a lot of these things got demolished, unfortunately. But there's a subwoofer in that seat. And they also have Ninja Warriors, the Ninja Warriors cabinets that in Darius 2, of course, that use the same form factor that also kind of do the subwoofer in the seat thing. So the sound is like, it is a game that is an experience, is how I would put it. And so also adding to that experience is the monitor setup. And so here, I'll kind of explain what we're looking at. You can obviously see, you can kind of see from the lines right on the monitor here that you've got dividers. So this is essentially 3 screens, right? But if you look at how this is done, it's actually really interesting. You have one screen up here, like an actual monitor, but you can see down here you have 2 monitors at the base with mirrors that are projecting them up to give it the illusion of 3 continuous monitors at the top, when 2 of them in reality are actually down here at the bottom. So it's really like a pretty revolutionary feat of engineering too, when you think about it. And if anyone is interested in hearing more about some of the concerns and the processes that went into the engineering, if you go to 1millionpower.com, I actually translated an interview for the first Darius Cosmic collection before they started just translating the booklets that came with them themselves. That first one didn't have a dual language version. I translated the interview with him and also the cabinet designer for Darius Burst, and they share all kinds of interesting details about that if anyone wants to read more. But it really is a crazy, cool looking cabinet. And we've got a little bit more zoomed out of a picture of it here. I believe this is the picture I took of the one at Hay from behind the seat there. And this, I'm very, very, very proud of this. This is my photo from the one at Mikado of me getting the 1 credit clear. I'd done it many, many times at home on like various collections and MAME and things like that, but it was just so important to me to actually get it at Mikado just because of, you know, all the history involved in that arcade and what a mecca they are for hardcore. So I'm not an expert on the technology that X-Men uses, but I do not believe that X-Men used mirroring like that. I think that X-Men actually had 2 monitors. Not the upcoming episode of Scrolling Down the Belt, but the one after that, I'll actually be getting to X-Men. So probably, and not too far in the future here, you'll see a stream of maybe a 1 credit clear of X-Men. I haven't learned it yet, but I believe X-Men is just 2 monitors. They did not do any kind of mirroring. I did work, and actually I would say 99.9% sure of it, because back in the late 90s, I did used to work in an arcade, and we did, by the time I got there, still have the 6-player X-Men machine, and I was inside of that thing at various points, and I did not see any mirroring in there. So I'm very sure that that is 2 monitors now that I think about it. There are different versions of this game. We won't go too deep into this conversation, but you can see down here at the bottom, it says old version. So old version is the original version of Darius that was released to arcades originally. It has some very well-known bugs that I'll talk about when we get into the gameplay here. Modern Darius games monitors like Burst, yeah, they do have actual 16:9. They don't do the mirrored things anymore. So for Darius 1 and 2, they had a couple different setups for Darius 2, but Darius 2 basically initially used the same setup, though there was also a 2-monitor version of it as well. So it came in different flavors. But then G Darius and Gaiden were just single monitor, you know, standard games. And then Burst went, you know, the more modern one, even though it's quite old at this point, did sort of something that attempted to approximate what the original Darius did, but without doing, you know, the actual mirroring technology. But it has old version, new version, and extra version. And so the new version attempted to like do some bug fixes and do some rearrangements of some of the things. And then extra version is just full on rearranged. So like, I feel like most of the hardcore players stick to old version. There are different reasons to play or not play old version and play the other ones. But I've never really learned the routes or the clears for new or extra. I've just kind of stuck to old version. It's just how I am. But I believe the one at Hay was actually not running old version. Last time I checked, it was running either new or extra. And then there's an example of the Ninja Warriors running in the same type of cabinet, which they also have at Hay. So that's kind of why Darius looks the way it does. Let me switch back to gameplay here. If my Stream Deck will cooperate with me. Fine, Stream Deck. We're just going to do this on OBS. Be that way. All right. MAME, come back. There we go. All right. And so I don't want to jinx it. I'm pretty confident at this one. I'm going to be showing what's generally considered to be the beginner's route. I do know a more advanced route that takes us to the flagship boss of Darius, Great Thing, but this time around I won't show that off. I'll keep it simple here. I'll also turn up the audio here a bit, because this has some, I think this is a little bit lower of a soundtrack. And it's a good one. It's very very sort of avant-garde style soundtrack, I would say. That might not even be loud enough. Gosh, okay. Tell me what you guys think of the sound levels. I'll actually briefly switch it over to stream as well, just to sort of hear what it sounds like. That seems pretty good, I think. Okay. All right. So, Darius. Okay, I'm resetting there. Hold on. I was checking my button configs. You saw nothing. All right. So, kind of similar to Gradius, I would say. You've got your kind of shot in your missile. You know, you're dropping a missile on the ground, but the power-up system works completely different here. You can see those colors up at the top. You got your red, your green, and your blue. And so your red is kind of like your main gun, your green is the missiles, and the blue is your shield. So totally different power-up system from Gradius, like not even remotely the same. No, don't you escape. And in my opinion, a little more forgiving, and honestly, like unlike Gradius, like you don't really have as much Gradius syndrome in this game, where like dying basically means, well, you better just start over because you don't have a chance, buddy. Like it's not. I don't find it to be that that unforgiving personally. But your mileage may vary, I suppose. And so the interesting thing about this one is that you're really sort of incentivized to keep as far to the right as possible because of the speed at which your shots come out. And I won't always be able to do that, but the way the game works is it's just like you'll kind of see that they come out a lot faster. Yeah, basically the further over to the right you are. And as you back off, they just kind of come out a little bit slower. And you work these up to different power series. So you can see the meters at the top there have different levels that they're working toward, right? And you cycle through once you get through, you know, all of the ticks. Oh boy. Okay, good. We got to King Fossil. And that will kind of take you to another level of them. Well, the old version is infamous for having a bug of not wanting to move your current shot up to the next power level, or else it just isn't as effective. And so you'll see me, you know, continuously power up the missiles that drop on the ground and the shields, but you won't see me getting the gun past a certain point because it's just not advantageous. And here's King Fossil. Everybody's every friend to all, right? You can I'll be cautious and I'll kind of cheese him out from above because I got no shield and I don't want him to take me out. I love King Fossil. I think that the boss designs in this game are among the most iconic that shoot 'em ups have really ever seen. And King Fossil deserves to be celebrated. And so, one interesting thing that only this Darius game does, and none of the subsequent ones, is that it makes you... So Darius, known for having branching paths. I should also mention that. We're about to get our choice of paths in a moment here. But this one actually physically makes you go up and down on the path. Whereas the other ones just make you kind of pick from, you know, like a little UI thing. But this one, if you're just away from your stick, so to speak, you will crash into that wall when you're transitioning to the next area. So Not fun if you're not paying attention or don't know that it's coming. I would very much like a shield. I'm actually not used to commentating while I do this, so I think my shield took a little bit more of a hit than it usually would in that first level there. So I'm gonna try and be as cautious as I can. I believe we have a shield coming up here. Yes, please, 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 please. Thank you. And we can kind of trick these guys to coming out through the wall. And yeah, it's no, I want you. Thank you very much. The missile placement is all. Oh gosh, I missed that shield. Boy, oh boy. I'm gonna regret that later for reasons that will become become clear in a couple of levels. I am going along with my theme for the day of not playing up to my usual standards. Come on, we want you guys gone. Yep, wow. Been a while since I've died on the second level. But if I had managed to power up any of those, which of course you wouldn't have by the second level, you know, that's just not feasible, I would have actually restarted from roughly that level. I might actually reset this. Let's go for one more from the top. But yeah, the way you kind of move and like give the missile more momentum, it's probably tough to notice it at this stage. But that's also pretty key to like sort of hiding behind cover, but also taking out some of those, you know, bases on the ground that were shooting out missiles and things like that. But it's a game that has a really interesting feel to it, and I would actually recommend this as a 1-credit clear, an early 1-credit clear to learn over Gradius 1, to be sure. Like, I think you're gonna have much less frustration with this than you would something like Gradius 1. But that is not the way I did it, for better or worse. Go, but we want you because you're giving me delicious red power-ups. And the red ones are always the tastiest ones, right? We all know this. Okay, I didn't take too much of a beating there that time. It can be a little bit of a rough one. Oh god, I let him hit me with all those missiles again, for God's sake. Okay, I really want that one. I would like my shield back, thank you very much. We like having shields here. Very pro-shield. Okay. This is the state that I'm used to entering King Fossil with. Can take a few more chances on him this way. Yeah, and those, I guess those are fish eggs. And so again, staying with like the aquatic theme of Darius, like those fish eggs are kind of a thing before bosses appear in a lot of these Darius games. See, now you can kind of go on all directions of him and break his various parts, his fish parts. And he goes down a lot quicker when you're not trying to play the super safe strategy of just dropping missiles on him from up top. I forgot to ask earlier, does anybody have favorite retro shmups? Just in general? There's a lot of them I still want to learn. Especially, I'm a little bit more of a classic shmup person than I am as a bullet hell, I would say. Just kind of where my tastes lie. All right. I'm feeling better about this one. Famous last words, but Dodonpachi. Yeah, Dodonpachi is a classic for sure. That is a tough one to learn because it has, you know, so much. Okay, the green guy just completely stonewalled me there, but that's okay. I am much more concerned with these, even though I did not get both of them. Yeah, I would like to learn Dodonpachi one of these days, but I think it's going to take some labbing. Have you done a 1 credit clear on it at all, or? Again, not getting all of those shields is not great for reasons that will become very obvious later. And we're kind of approaching the top of where we want to be at the, Yep, good. All right. All right. Who is this? No, this is electric fan. Okay. So, electric fan, it may not seem like it initially, but he has a relatively easy pattern. He just kind of does his shots as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Not even close. You just love to play it. Yeah, and that's fine. Obviously, it's not. You don't need to be able to, you know, do that to a game to enjoy it for sure. Just curious. Two, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay, he is not. Okay, this is not. Boy, oh boy. All right. I think something about the way the rapid shot is working in MAME versus on the collection is throwing me off a little bit here. Now I've gotten into my own head. Let's see what we can do here. We can still trace his 1, 2, 3 patterns, but it's a lot harder to deal with those ships on let's just see if I can give this an honest attempt here, and we may reset. Yeah, now I'm just losing my focus. All right, one more time. I have video proof that I have 1 credit cleared these games, that I am doing a very, very poor job of showcasing that here today. Yeah, I think I've definitely played some Dodonpachi. I don't know that I've ever yet taken the chance to like understand the like the, you know, how the score works with like chaining and things like that. but I'm gonna get there. And I wanna do, you know, become a little bit more well-versed in bullet hell stuff as well, too. I'm certainly not anti-bullet hell. I just, it's a little bit higher of a learning curve on some of those, and though I don't know, I mean, you can really argue, right? Because, like, the classic shmups have some real unfair stuff in them, and require just, like, a lot more memorization. So it's like, which one's the real, you know, most challenging one, I guess, is a fair argument to try to make as well. Wrecked there, luckily. Come on. I love when some of these things just like get completely stuck on the surroundings, and it's like, what are you doing over there, guys? You're getting tripped up on something. Really? I just walked right into that? Okay, great. Coming. Oh yeah, got the neck. I got the other green. Awesome. When I think you think bullet hell, you think of Ikaruga. Yeah, that I think is pretty common go-to for people. I mean, that's a shmup classic for sure. Another one that I've not learned. Though I probably should add that to my roster at some point. But yeah, I started with learning some of the classic ones because I was like, oh, okay, it just seemed, the perception of it seemed easier to me, if that makes sense. But again, you can kind of like argue, is it really easier because of all the stuff you have to memorize and blah, blah, blah. Darius, not a super memorization-heavy game, I wouldn't say. But something like R-Type, not much would need to happen for me to play Genpei Tomaden on stream, to be honest. I will add that to the list, because I'm a little rusty at Genpei Tomaden, but I would not mind de-rusting that. I like Genpei Tomaden. So you do not have to try very hard, my friend. I will keep that one in mind for sure. All right. A little bit better luck on this stage, maybe. Come on. Keep with it. I want to try to get myself a little more forward so I can grab these shields. Yeah, okay. You guys are troll. I am not gonna go down and get that because I will die. It's being absolutely trolled by these shields today. My goodness. I think my problem is I was hanging a little too back, and so I was getting overwhelmed by too much there. We are definitely going to get both of those there. That's what we like to see. This seems like a better course already, but then again, I said that last time, and boy was I wrong. Okay, good. Good. Yep. I like UN Squadron. That's another one I would need to learn, and like the Super Nintendo one and the arcade one are pretty different from each other in a lot of ways. So I don't know which one of those you prefer, but yeah, I like UN Squadron. That's one that's kind of been on my to lab list for a while for sure. All right, let's see if I can do this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So he always shoots in series of 3. So I try and kind of keep him moving up and down, always in a series of 3. There we go. That's how it's supposed to go. Yeah, UN Squadron is another one that has... I can't remember if both versions have it or if it's just the Super Nintendo one, but has that kind of shop upgrade thing. It doesn't work the same way it does in Fantasy Zone, obviously, but... thing where you can get yourself ship upgrades. All right, 3. This is the level with dual shears. I can never remember. I'm like, okay, which ones? Where's electric fan and where's dual shears? Yeah, usually what I do is I collect about 1 more of these just to give myself the triple shot here. And then I actually stop collecting to give myself a little bit of a buffer. I could do 2 more, but I want to stop just short of getting that meter to go over. Because again, then because of the bugs in old version, when you switch over to laser, it's just much less effective. And, like, we don't... Like, if you really want to challenge run yourself, you can do that. And I've seen people even at Mikado, like, doing the challenge run thing and being like, I'm gonna do this with laser. And, like, good on them, but I'm not. I'm not good enough for that. Alright. Trying not to pick up any more reds, though we're very okay with picking up everything else. Greens and blues, give those to me all day. Especially that blue right there. There is a boss coming up, not this next one, but the one after, which is the run killer for a lot of people. And you want a shield for him, for sure, as upgraded as possible. This guy's not so bad. This is dual shears. And he has a trick that I've actually never seen anyone use. I don't want to say I discovered this, because probably other people know it, but I've never seen anyone else use it. For a period, you have a safe spot over here in the corner until you blow off his claws. Like, okay, he actually tagged me with one of those, but a usually safe spot. But once he loses his claws, you gotta kind of weave around his stuff here. But he's really not that bad in the end, especially if you use that corner trick there. So now we are coming up onto the level with our run killer boss. But luckily he has something that makes him not too bad. But you do have to have a good shield, a good amount of shield to be able to soak hits, and I believe I will get there. I believe it will give me enough shields to get me up to gold shield in time. And so now you start to get these more complex patterns with these enemies like flying in these waves, right? Oh god, the shield. The shield is gone. I did not get it. So we'll have to see where that puts me. I've done Fatty Glutton with yes, his name is Fatty Glutton. With Silver Shield before, but it is not my preference. Good, got the green one. And these missile bases are nightmares. And for some reason, I'm not particularly getting them under control too easily here. You, sir, need to go. Oh, yeah. No, come on, go. No, 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 no. Oh, God. Oh, no. All right. Well, it is what it is. I can't believe I blew those shields. Oh, God. This is not. All right. Well, welcome back, Red Spectre. You're just in time for Fatty Glutton on Darius, and I'm hoping that my silver level shield will be enough. This Fatty Glutton is definitely the run killer. So the general strategy is you just point blank him, and you burn him down as fast as you can. And there we go. If you try to fight that guy fair, he is gonna tear you apart because he has these fish that split apart, and they're just very difficult to dodge. So with rapid fire on, and if you just get up and point blank him, like, he isn't so bad. But, you know, that trick is not obvious, right? Like, with point blanking him, I can do it mashing. I have one credit cleared this game many times at the Galloping Ghost. They do not have rapid fire buttons installed. Oh, one up. And so you definitely can mash your way through this. I don't prefer to, obviously. I like my hands not feeling bad. But it can be done. I think the next blue one was coming up right here, yeah. So now we're at Gold Shield, where I was kind of hoping to be for Fatty Glutton, but we got through him okay, so it's fine. Nice time for that clear to come up. Nope, we don't want that. Please no missiles, thank you. Nope. I was gonna say, is that gonna troll me and catch itself on in a corner like they love to do so often? Okay, so far so good. Believe we might even have one more shield before we get there, but I'm not. Oh, whew. Yep, there's our one more shield. I'll get that red if I can help it. All right. So Keen Bayonet, there's no real easy strategy that I'm aware of. You just kind of have to move around. He'll take me a little bit longer to go through than some of the other bosses have. Just because he's got a few breakable parts. And he puts out a decent amount of firepower, that Keen Bayonet. He's a real Keen Bayonet. And so sometimes I kind of get up and under him and But you're really, for the most part, like not wanting to get too close to him. Because your ship speed is not like amazing in Darius 1. So it can be a little bit difficult to get clear of his barrage of shots there. But it's all kind of like, you know, a war of attrition with him, right? Oh, gosh. Okay, that's not good. Yeah, next time I do this, I might do the collection, because I feel like something about the way MAME's auto fire works in this game in particular is a little bit throwing me off. I know it sounds like an excuse, but let's just see what I can do here. With no shield. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer if you die on a boss, because you don't, you know, get a chance to power up at all. Deluxe 3 screen sit down Darius. No, so Galloping Ghost has for Darius 1 and Darius 2, they have the Western versions. So they are 3 monitors still, but they are not the sit down ones with the woofers in the seat. They are just stand-up ones. They do have the burst. They do have the sit-down burst. But yeah, you gotta stand, and you don't get any body sonic or anything like that when you're playing the ones at Ghost. Okay, I actually managed to take him out. Holy wow! Run could still be alive. We'll see. I'm not thrilled about being depowered at this point, because well, actually, I got to twin and hyper, so like when I get those power-ups, I'll at least be not, you know, completely resetting back to nothing. So we'll see how it goes. I just gotta last until that first shield. Good lord. Sweating over here. Oh. Okay, come on. Where's that shield? On top of everything else, this is the level where it's like, yeah. Oh, yes. No! Oh, oh God. I was like, that is gonna kill me. And now I'm doing a real sloppy job because I only have a single shot. And also, as some of you may have noticed, there are, yep. Yeah, being depowered coming into this level is pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. But we're gonna give it our best here, even if it doesn't end up being a 1cc. We can always save the 1cc for another time, like we have some of these other ones. And that shield's gonna go off screen. God damn it. And the tough thing about this level is you've got those rockets that are kind of coming out of the bottom, as you've probably noticed here. Yep, it's just real tough to get through this without a shield. Let me see if I can make myself be a little more up front so I can have a chance of nabbing that shield that comes up here in a bit. Come on. Okay, at least we got a shield. That's something. That's something. Well, this is going to be interesting. Okay, so Iron Hammer also has kind of a... Yeah, I never understood why they remove your power-ups. It's I don't know. It's a good question for sure. Iron Hammer also has a little bit of an exploit that people generally tend to use to milk for points. And that's if you get... I don't remember the exact position. These guys might get my shield. We'll have to see. But I think, if I'm right about here, it's actually a safe spot, even though they wore down the shield. Like, I don't think they'll get me without a shield, but it takes forever to beat Iron Hammer this way, because you can see I'm only hitting him when he moves up to the top of the screen. It takes forever to beat Iron Hammer this way, even when you're fully powered up. But you're getting more points because you're taking out many more enemies that he's sending out than you would normally be, just by like being in this position where you're essentially guaranteed to be hitting them. So like this is like a score farming strat, but it's also kind of a safety strat too. So like this is a thing they got rid of in subsequent versions of the game. In a extra new version and extra version, they took this Iron Hammer bug out. But I don't know. I think learning these bugs is half the fun, you know? It's like they're in the game. Any sense on it game balance wise? Yeah. No, I agree. It doesn't really contribute to the game balance at all. No, I mean I think you have a pretty valid point. Like, what is the point of like creating situations like checkpoints in which it's like very hard to and sometimes impossible to recover from, right? Like I think that's a legit criticism. Because I don't feel like it makes me a better player when I die in Gradius and I have to struggle without any power-ups to get, you know, through the next thing. I just don't. I don't think it makes me a better player. I don't think there are timeouts in this game. Like, I don't think the bosses die. Okay, there we go. I was going to say, one day the Iron Hammer will go down, I swear. So, last level. And I should be okay to get to the first shield, because I've definitely lost the shield on Iron Hammer before. Maybe I'm like slightly off in my safe spot, and I think it's possible to get through him without losing the shield, but I can never seem to do it. Are most shooters like this as well? Like this in what sense? And so for this one, you kind of want to be real far over here. And it will make a lot of things safer for you. Oh, come on. There we go. Thank you. I'll take that. Well, I tried to get it until it just went off screen. And so you can kind of avoid a lot of the enemies by just being up here. Because they're throwing quite a bit at you, as you can see, right? And you also kind of get the benefit of being able to take out a lot of these gun turrets and things like that. Oh boy, they're getting through to me a little bit. Probably because I don't have the back missiles, actually, now that I think about it. Which is, again, a thing that I'm not used to being depowered when I am, so... Let's see if I can get through or not. Yes, please, 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 shield. Thank you. I am not used to those guys moving up like that. It is not a usual pattern to my reckoning. But we're gonna see if we can make it here. Oh, guy looped from behind on me there. Okay. Hello, hello. Like, do all shooters take away your power-ups when you die? Not all. I feel like modern ones have maybe gotten a little bit better about it. But it is, you know, for better or worse, like a shooter tradition. Not necessarily a good one. Let's see if I can do this in the depowered state that I am. So he's another point blanking boss. Yep, nice. Lurking is A-okay, little terror. No problem. I am equally parts surprised that went that badly and that I managed to pull it out in the face of that adversity. I think it's only a testament to how many times I've played Darius 1 that worked the way that it did. Mission completed. You destroyed all enemies and war is over. It's over! You were the bravest pilot. See you again next game. Thank you for the GGs. We are definitely going to watch the credits, though. If you, this is a 2-player game, by the way. I should have probably mentioned. I think I've only ever played it 2 players with someone once, though. But if you finish any route 2 players, you'll get a slightly different scene in the ending. Like the one that just had, like, my ship flying across. Like, I think if you finish this route with 2 players, you get things where they're, like, the 2 ships, like, flying and, like, blow up some sort of a core or something like that. So some people, like, tag in a second player, even if it's just a dummy second player at the end just to get that. I didn't think to do that, but... Yeah, Darius 1, especially with 2 players, is pretty rough because you have to share power-ups. So you have to be like, okay, now it's my turn, now it's your turn, etc., etc. But, like, that just results in everyone powering up much more slowly. So it's... I can't really recommend playing it 2 players unless maybe you're playing it with someone you don't like. Yay, Taito. I love Taito games. Y'all will see many more Taito games in future streams, because I think they're a great developer. But now, go away, Darius. We get to look at this one. Go away, Darius images. So now we get to move on a little bit to I'll not ruin the surprise here. We'll go back to the beginning for this one. We're going back to April 1st, 1987. So we've advanced about a year at this point since the last one. Darius came out in February 1987 in Japan, I believe. So now we're about a year from the last one we looked at from Fantasy Zone. And let's see what we got here. I love the super roulette image here. Gorgeous, beautiful, fantastic. Has it's easy to control. Sousan ga kantan nano de. Yep. I mean, it's roulette. How hard could it possibly be to control anyway? Or the arcade version of Bionic Commando here, Top Secret. Neat little ad for that, as well as a couple of metal games. What is that? Hyper Chance, Andake, Makaijima, and like Devil Island, Demon Island, and Double Fever Standard. We got some other Time Scanner, which is not, that is a Sega title, apparently. I don't know if we have any folks that are familiar with Time Scanner, but I sure am not. It looks to be a pinball. Was this, it looks like it has some type of unique, let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit, actually. Looks like it has some kind of a unique control scheme. Even zooming in this far is not going to get us too much, but it might be like digital, you know, like flipper controls would be my guess to what we're looking at there. Interesting. I am a sucker for arcade games with unique control schemes, I will say. Tecmo All-American Football. We're also Tecmo Pool Age ni Daininki, very very popular in the pool age. Yeah, we were looking at some game machine issues last week, probably from around this time, probably from around 1986, 1987, and they were proclaiming how billiards were the new thing sweeping America. And at the time I was just like, in the 80s, I was like, billiards to me just seemed like a thing that were always around. But I don't know. Maybe they really started coming into their own in the 80s. Also, before anyone gets too excited, I do not think this game is about what it sounds like, as being named a game called Booby Kids. Yes, that is actually how it's read. The katakana beneath it does say Booby Kizu. And you've got that, well, you've got, I believe, another Mahjong game, because anytime we have a picture of a lady, it has to be associated with Mahjong. We all know this. But a Mahjong game running in a table cabinet there. Use PCBs, of course. We've got more. Was it? I mean, I would not be surprised that they renamed that game. Makaijong. That's interesting. Okay, but you got another, again, another salacious one. Kismet Eve. This is, I don't think, a Mahjong game. Oh, this might be like a fortune-telling type deal. Ume no magi wa toki no himeta sasayaki. So like the movements of fate, the hidden secret whispers of time. And here we come to our rankings. So Darius, we're used to looking over here on the table cabinet side, and we'll look over there because we're interested to see what that is. But because Darius had that amazing sit-down machine, right? It's over here on the upright and cockpit side. So again, not surprisingly for a game with that much oomph, it was number one. The Comet Eye machine seems to look like those Print Club machines to come later. Yeah, it could be a bit of that too. The Purikura age, I feel like, was a little after this. I feel like the Purikura age was like in the 90s, I believe. So yeah, we would have been it could have been a predecessor to that. We also have Outrun DX sticking around in here. We've got our Space Harriers and our Hang-Ons that just sort of never really seem to go away until the next version comes out. 3D Thunder Scepter 2 from Namco. We still got Ultra Quiz. Oh, maybe that was a different Taito Quiz game that we looked at before, because this one is debuting at number 10. We got your Pole Position 2s, your Gauntlets, which again, about a year-ish later, is still on the uprights list here. So Gauntlet sticking around. We do not have the Mahjong listing yet, sadly. I was wrong about that. We still just have the old flippers. But let's take a look, even though it's not Darius, let's take a look at what was in table cabinets. So Contra's debut, and Contra at number 1, which is, again, not really surprising to me at all. I feel like Contra ended up becoming a series that was a little more appreciated in the West, but that doesn't necessarily mean it didn't, hit real hard in Japan when it came out. Another Mahjong, Ojanko Yakata by Video System. We've got Arkanoid by Taito, another, not a spinner game, I guess, or I guess you would say. Wonder Momo. Oh, we landed on Wonder Momo too. Another kind of sort of beat 'em up, which looks like it debuted at number 4, but probably had the misfortune of coming out when Contra came out. We got Rolling Thunder from Namco. It's supporting the idea of billiards sweeping the nation. We also have Side Pocket from Data East. We've got another Mahjong game from SNK. Speaking of things that are sweeping the nation, we got Bubble Bobble at number 9, excuse me. Karnov at number 10. We still got Haley's Comet sticking around. We've got Exorizer. Let me read the katakana. Exoriza. So it's Riser, Exorizer. We got Dunk Shot from Sega. Second Love from Nichibutsu. Again, more Mahjong. 1942 still. 1942 really kind of towed the line for a while there. Teed Off from Tecmo. We've got good old Netketsukoha Kunio-kun that we looked at during the first stream, aka Renegade from Technos and Taito. We've got Ikari, who, again, if we remember the previous issue we looked at for Fantasy Zone, it was at number 1, and it's still here almost a year later. It's not at number 1 anymore, but it's still here. We got Tecmo World Cup. We've got Super Othello from Fujiwara. Meijin-san from SNK. Double X Mission from UPL. City Love from Nichibutsu. And Pythagoras no Nazo, Riddle of Pythagoras from Sega. And yeah, also, not that it has anything to do with anything there. People love Dio today. I'm glad people are appreciating Dio. It's you thought it was Contra, but it was me, Dio. I saw something while we were looking at this. I saw a couple things over here, actually. One of which is Naughty Robot, Wampaku Roboto. Again, a ride for kids like some of these, but I love that he's called Naughty Robot. I don't know how naughty he actually looks here. But, and we've also got Dracula-kun, which that's adorable. I'm a sucker for a Dracula in almost any form, but almost as funny is that it's romanized as Mr. Dracula. So, Mr. Dracula, there you go. You've also got Meruhen House and some F1 cars and things like this. As someone who worked in an arcade, we did not have a lot of these type of kids attractions, but I've always been weirdly interested by them, and seeing a magazine that like advertises all the latest ones is fun for me. What do we got? Oh, we got a Psycho Soldier ad. Look at that. We got Athena. We'll zoom out a little bit just so we can get the full thing. Yep. It's the world's first, does it say world? Yes. It says world's first singing video game. So I don't know where this fell in relation to that, what was it, that Foreigner, the game about Foreigner that had like the tapes that would play Foreigner music in it. I don't know if this is a founded claim or not, but it is very possible that it was. We have the singer of the Psycho Soldier song down there. We've got, speaking of... Sorry, I said Foreigner. Yes, you're right. It was Journey. My mistake. He did. Yep, Jeremy Parrish did put the entire thing on YouTube. I was getting my my 80s bands a little bit mixed up there. We've got Yokai Dochuki ad here. I wanted to look at one more magazine. For those who have tuned in for streams before, we know that some of these games came out before the publication of this, but we've got Gamist. So Gamist, again, just to quickly recap, I think it was a magazine that came out in about late 1986. It started doing its Gamist Awards in 1987. So kind of like the magazine for the arcade hardcore. So they would have reader-voted games where you could send a postcard and vote on what you thought were the best arcade games of that year. And this is for 87. And so we'll zoom in one more here. Come on. I knew I was going to go past it. And I think we went one too far. Here's what we wanted, I think, maybe. Hold on, let me zoom out real quick to get my bearings. I think we want to go one more back down. Not correct. Okay, yeah, here we go. And I'll scroll up a little bit more deliberately. Though no matter how deliberately I do it, it seems like it's not deliberately enough. Okay, here we go. This'll work. So, our Gamist Awards for 1987. Number 1 is Darius. And that is when I realized what an arcade hardcore magazine Gamist was. We also looked at something last stream where they voted Magic Sword like number 4, which is like, if you guys are putting Magic Sword that high up, you guys are really into it. But I remember reading an interview, I think maybe even I translated it with Zenji Ishii, the former editor-in-chief of Gamist, where he said, we were sure Afterburner was going to get it. Afterburner was so popular that year, it was just taking over arcades. And they were kind of shocked that Darius got it. But Zenji Ishii famously went on to help with the extra version of Darius. He actually kind of joined them as a consultant to recommend some of the changes. He was also, at a certain point, Japan's leading high scorer in Darius. So he wrote like all of Gamist's like strategy coverages and things like this. Yeah, right. Take me back. I want to vote via postcard for my favorite arcade game. Maybe if you got a hold of a Gamist postcard now, you could still send it to someone. But yeah, I would have been so cool to take part in this. I feel like the US magazines didn't really do anything like this. And on top of which there wasn't anything outside of like strictly industry publications that I feel like were too closely covering arcade games. Like you would get some stuff in EGM, obviously, sometimes, but they didn't, at least always, I don't think, have like an issue by issue breakdown of like, here's what's new in the arcade. If it was something big, they would cover it. Like obviously they covered Street Fighter 2 and things like this, like before they got home versions, right? So it's not that they didn't touch them at all, but that just wasn't their focus. But we've also got some other real killers in here, right? We had Afterburner. If there's anyone here that is good at Afterburner, please speak up, because Afterburner is a game that I think is real cool, but like, I feel like I just can't play to save my life. We've also got R-Type, a game, ... Yep, silence. I'm not too surprised. R-Type, another game I can at least sometimes one credit clear, which will make an appearance on a stream at some point. I love me some R-Type. Outrun, again, classic. No surprise that made number 4. Dragon Spirit at number 5. Genpei Tomaden, which came up earlier in the stream as a request, at number 6. Street Fighter 1 at number 7. Raise your hand if you are a person who played a Street Fighter machine with the pneumatic buttons and really had your hands hurt afterward. I have. I didn't get to do it back in the day. I got to go to Warehouse in Kawasaki in Japan before it closed. I just happened to be there in 2019, like weeks before it closed. I didn't plan it that way. It's the way it worked out. I got to go, and they had, same at Warehouse. Yeah. We might have even talked about this actually in another stream now that I think about it. But yeah, I can't, like, it's neat to try once. I would never, ever I really don't want to play that game much at all, Street Fighter 1, but I especially don't want to play it with the pneumatic buttons. And we had, a couple streams ago, that's what I thought. As I was saying it, I was like, didn't we talk about that? We might have talked about it when we were looking at Game Machine, though, rather than Gamist. I'm not, though maybe I went back to this issue before, so maybe we're doing a little bit of retreading here, but yeah, we've got like Yokai Dochuki, 1943, Ninja-kun, Ashura no Sho, things like this. And we'll just take a quick peek at maybe some of their other categories here. You got like table game best income, R-types at the top of those charts. Oh yeah, I think we actually looked at this for Double Dragon, for showing that while Double Dragon didn't get voted by the readers of Gamist to be one of the best games or anything, it did get voted, or it didn't get voted, it got in as one of the highest grossing income games of that year. You've also got, you've got some non-surprising characters in here. I think we looked at these last time. Momo from Wonder Momo. You've got Athena from Psycho Soldier, that sort of thing. And finally, you've got income for the larger cabinets, and Outrun and Afterburner in terms of income edged out Darius, which is not really that surprising. I feel like Darius does not have the obvious appeal to the non-hardcore that Outrun or Afterburner does, right? I think that's probably a pretty fair assessment to make. But I am afraid that is all I have for you this evening. I would love to go a little bit later, but I actually already went a little bit later than I thought. Athena, yes, Athena is great. We love Athena in all of her forms, truly. I am partial to the King of Fighters idol singer Athena, though, I will say, for my part, though I appreciate all of her incarnations. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next. I don't think I'll be doing a stream this weekend. I have some other things I need to catch up on. So we'll maintain the normal Tuesday and Thursday. I have to iron out exactly what they'll be, but I was mentioning this earlier in the stream. I think at least one of them, I'm not sure which day yet, will actually be focused on slowly but surely working our way through some of the games featured in the book of mine that you see on screen here right now, Gameplay Harmonies. That is a book about games that are about Japanese musicians and artists, and so it'll be fun to take a look at those. But we'll be back next week, and thank you everyone for tuning in, and until next time.